acceptance speech where you have the time and the space to thank your family and your loved ones and everyone who helped you along the way. This would be, hey, let's thank the guys who actually were out on the ice.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Maybe they should have a little higher billing.
I mean, there's so many other things too with the Stanley Cup. I mean, you don't touch it if you have a chance to win it. That's the other thing. That's a superstition. A lot of players, they don't want to touch the Stanley Cup. Now this guy, I thought that was kind of weird that you're putting your family members on there. They had nothing to do with the team.
That's John's beef of the day.
That's my beef of the day. That's my hot
fair.
take.
I like it. I like it. Hot take with John Glasgow. Good stuff, though. This afternoon, President Trump's going to meet with House Speaker Mike Johnson, so we'll wait and see potentially what comes from that.
And we'll also follow the reaction for the passing of Senator Lindsey Graham and see some more action coming in. That's going to do it for us here this morning. Appreciate you tuning in.
We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. News Now is next.
You're watching theDove TV, encouraging and informative for Boise and the Treasure Valley. Seen on KTVJ3 and these Dove TV affiliates. Good morning. You're tuned to theDove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you, and welcome to Mornings on the Dove on a very, mixed Monday morning. A lot going on in the news. I'm joined by Steve Johnson this morning from the Southern Command. We got a lot going on here this morning. Good morning, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, good. You had a good weekend. Boy, you are right. It's full of a lot of news, both local and on the international level.
That's right. Of course, the passing of Lindsey Graham over the weekend has created a shockwave through the political world and the international political world. And in our own backyard, we have been anxiously watching this fire called the East Evans Creek Fire. It's up to about 3,200 acres right now. I think we have a picture here. Look at this. This was just a couple of hours ago at sunrise, and you can see it there that's outside our door, looking a little bit out, actually at the top of Roxanne, looking over to where the fire is. So that's what's happening out there, and we have more on that coming up in just a little bit, but that's got a lot of people obviously nervous, and rightfully so. The smoke moves around depending on the wind. It's the nightmare that we don't like here in Southern Oregon, but we have more on that coming up. A lot in the news today, a ton in the news, and we'll get to all of that. But what do you got, man? What's going on?
Well, you know, we've seen how so many people from Europe and Scandinavian countries have fallen in love with American cuisine, if you want to call it that. This is gets as basic a cuisine as you could get, and perhaps if it had ranch sauce on it, they'd really like it because, you know, they're trying to smuggle it back home. But this is National Beans and Franks Day. Now, here's what you can do. If you want to make this really fancy pants, just get the small little toothpicks, stick them in the Franks, and put them on a plate. And now it looks like it's really fancy.
There you go.
Little wedges like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, isn't that good with the right kind of barbecue sauce?
Oh.
Beans and Franks, it's so basic, but that just, to me, sounds really, really, really good.
All right.
Especially, it's made for breakfast. It's also National Barbershop Music Appreciation Day. Whoa, baby. A little bit of that. As far as I'm concerned, a little bit of barbershop goes a long way.
Well, I
think of the Simpsons show where they had the barbershop, which was kind of funny. But, you know, barbershop is like, it's an acquired taste, I think.
Okay. Well, I go into my barbershop, and the guy is borderline heavy metal.
Oh, okay. That's not the kind of barbershop singing.
No, and then sometimes I go in there. It's I don't know what it is. Maybe 50s and 60s music, you know.
Oh, really? So it's a variety. That's good.
Yeah.
So you don't get the sweet Adeline.
No.
Adeline.
No. So you're talking about the barbershop quartets, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't even think that. Well, I don't know. Maybe Bill and Gloria would like some of those guys.
The Gaithers?
Gaithers.
Probably so. The Gaithers, I think, like all sorts of music. You know, remember, you talked about a heavy metal. Pat Boone put out a heavy metal album. Remember that? And people were questioning his Christianity at the time.
Yeah.
This was back in the 80s.
Yeah.
he's still a Christian. I've seen some of the interviews since then.
Yeah.
Boy, I really got the criticism for that. Maybe Pat Boone should have come out with a Gaither quartet or a Gaither trio. Remember when Gary McSpadden was with the Gaithers,
yeah.
Bill and Gloria, and Pat Boone? They could have had their own barbershop quartet. Wow, why am I even talking about
Well,
this?
Pat Boone had a
barbershop quartet music. I don't really care for that much.
Pat Boone had a radio show. We carried it for a while until he couldn't sing anymore.
Okay, you've opened up a whole Pandora's box there. I'm seeing more articles about aging singers.
Yeah.
They say you don't try to relive what you did in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's best to just give it up.
Yep.
And go to and sing barbershop quartet music.
Okay. There you go. All right. Anything else?
No, that's about as much as I could handle.
Okay.
Beans and Franks and barbershop quartet.
Okay, let's take our Beans and Franks over to the weather department. Let's see what's happening over there with the weather this morning.
Here's a look at your Monday weather from Grange Killop. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with afternoon highs in the upper 80s in Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville, while Wilsonville tops out near 90. Through the Willamette Valley, sunny conditions continue in Salem and Albany near 88. Corvallis climbs to 87 and Eugene finishes near 88 before returning to the 50s overnight. Mostly sunny in central Oregon and 94 in Pineville. Bend tops out near 90 and Sun River hits 89. Boise turns much hotter with patchy smoke, followed by mostly sunny skies and a high of 100. Along the Oregon coast, mostly sunny skies and 68 in Clues Bay and 66 in Port Orford. Brookings sees decreasing clouds with a high of 57, while Crescent City starts with patchy fog before turning partly sunny and 62. In southern Oregon, hot conditions continue with 96 in Grants Pass and 97 in Medford. Ashland stays mostly sunny with a high of 93, while Klamath Falls was partly sunny and reaches 88. Across northern California, increasing clouds in Wairika and 95. Redding reaches 100 and Chico 98 with a chance of rain before hot, partly sunny skies. In Fort Bragg, slight chance of thunderstorms and a high near 61. Around the Bay Area, Santa Rosa reaches 91 with decreasing clouds. Napa gradually clears near 90. Over in San Francisco, partly sunny with a high of 77. And San Jose sees decreasing clouds with a high of 90. For Central California, Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto reach 96 with a slight chance of rain before a hot afternoon. Fresno, Visalia, and Bakersfield stay hot with highs of 104. That's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op.
Okay, there's a shot this morning, kind of give you an idea. That's off the top of Roxanne looking out to the north. A little bit to the northwest, and that layer you see out there is the smoke from the fire. And then above that, you might see a few clouds, but we have that layer of smoke now that's at the north end of our valley, and it kind of moves east to west. Now, that is all subject to the wind. Last night, the smoke was pretty heavy right in the valley itself, so we'll keep you posted on all that.
All right. Well, we have a situation where we're looking at somebody who died all of a sudden, and we weren't expecting it. We are talking about Lindsey Graham. We'll be mentioning him in a few minutes. But first, Joni Eareckson Tada, she almost took over the show this morning when we first started. She has some inspiration for us, and how can you not get inspiration from somebody like Joni Eareckson Tada?
When you think of the kingdom of Christ, remember that it's an upside-down kingdom. Like the God of life conquers death by embracing it. He destroys the power of sin by letting it destroy him. He carries a cross, and it becomes a crown. God does not explain suffering with a bunch of words. He is the Word made flesh, gouged, spit upon, scorned, crucified. As Dr. Peter Kreeft says, quote, when it comes to suffering, God does not try to get himself off the hook. No, Jesus. It's God on the hook. And the same is true for you. Your weakness is not a weakness. It is the very thing that when you give it to God, it becomes your strength. And the weaker you are, the more of the power of Jesus Christ can be displayed through you.
Good stuff. Johnny's so challenging at times, I tell you. Good stuff. All right, 8 minutes now past the hour, taking a look at the top stories this morning. And of course, the big one is Senator Lindsey Graham just suddenly passed away over the weekend from a heart condition. And just listening to some of the medical reports this morning, apparently a problem with the aorta, and they thought originally it might have been a heart attack, but according to some of the medical reports I heard this morning, his aorta just basically exploded, and he is gone. And so he was in Turkey. He flew up to Ukraine. He was in Ukraine. He flew home. He got home. He called the president and got him out of bed, I guess, if the president ever goes to bed.
Yeah.
And they talked back and forth for a little bit, and then he hung up. And then about 20 minutes later or so, the president got the report that he had died, if you can imagine that. So it's possible the last person that talked to him was the president. We don't know that. But this is a shock to the political world. Senator Graham was one of the key people on a couple of issues. Lately, he was the key person on the Save America Act. So I don't know what's going to happen now. And people are saying, so all right, so what's the protocol? What are they going to do? And well, first of all, you know, he had quite the military career, and then, of course, serving in the Senate for 23 years from South Carolina. Very colorful guy, very powerful guy, never married. And his father apparently passed away suddenly from a heart attack. But anyway, what happens to the SAVE Act? And so what happens to his seats? Well, there's quite a few scenarios playing out. One is the governor could appoint a temporary custodian of the seat until they have a special primary election, and then they put forth a candidate. They looked over in the House side. Are there people over there? Are there other people that could do this? Is the governor a candidate? The president apparently has weighed in and says he has somebody he likes, but he wouldn't say who it is. But you can rest assured that they will scramble pretty quickly in the next couple of weeks to hold a special primary because Senator Graham won his primary just a little while ago. He won it. And heading to the general election. Well, now what? And what's going to happen? So this is going to cause quite the scramble. But apparently there are names on the table. And I'm sure between the governor and the president and the Republican Party of South Carolina, all will be working together to come up with somebody. Normally what happens in a situation like this, if there's a norm to it, they try to pick somebody as a custodian of the seat that goes on to become the candidate. So they have that little bit of incumbency momentum to the election. So we'll see if that's the case here, but it's yet to be determined. I think we'll know something probably by the end of the day. Wouldn't surprise.
Well, that could be. I know that Congresswoman Nancy Mace's name has been mentioned, as well as Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
Yeah.
They could be in the running. We'll have to see. I don't know. I think we're all waiting to see just who has the president got in mind, because again, he was being extremely secretive about that.
Pretty secretive about it. One of the response was from, you know, the head of Samaritan's Purse, Franklin Graham, weighed in on the passing of Lindsey Graham. So he was on Fox. This response is so classic Franklin Graham. This is amazing. Listen to this.
Let me just say, this time yesterday, Lindsey Graham didn't think he'd be standing before God. And when we went to bed last night, we didn't think we'd wake up this morning, we'd be talking about Lindsey Graham, death. Death comes for all of us, and we need to be prepared. There's no person that's going to escape death, and it's coming. The Bible says it's appointed unto man once to die, and then the judgment. We're going to have to stand before God. And the only way God will receive us is if we come to Him accepting His Son, Jesus Christ, and following Him and making Him the Lord of our life and surrendering our lives to Him. That's the only way we're going to make it to heaven, presence of God. And Lindsey Graham was a great American, and I know that he had a strong faith. And I just will miss him, and I enjoyed working with him the few times I worked with him on some issues. And he was just a great American, and America's lost a statesman, and he's going to be hard to replace.
Only the Graham could get the gospel in like he did there, you know.
He does bring us back to that, doesn't he?
He does, and the president has ordered flags to be flown. at half-mast today around the country. And I have to say, in watching some of the other networks' commentary on this is pretty sad. Pretty sad. It's pretty sad.
Interesting. Well, he was a person who was a friend of Israel, so if you have a network who kind of leans more pro-Palestinian, I imagine they would have that kind of a commentary. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was asked about Lindsey Graham, because Lindsey has made it to the Middle East quite a few times, and he had to say that really what Lindsey Graham was basically a supporter of Israel.
Understood that in many ways America and Israel's security are intertwined. We here in the Middle East, and that's fighting the forces of terror, the forces of Islamic radicalism that threaten America and its allies, that chant death to America, death to Israel. We're simply in their way. He understood that again and again and again.
Made a comment on Truth Social. He said that Lindsey was one of the greatest people, senators he's ever known. He says he was always working, a true American patriot, and will be greatly missed. And I think we'll be hearing more from Donald Trump as the days go on. Apparently,
He also had put the loose ends together of some kind of a peace agreement for the conflict in Ukraine. We don't know the details of that, but he was flying home and was pretty positive that the elements were put in place. Now, it's kind of like making peace in the Middle East, too. Does it hold and can it get to the table?
Yeah.
But,
he seemed pretty confident, though.
He was pretty confident about that, so we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, the other story is, of course, the Middle East, and the bombings continued in Iran as the Iran continues to violate all the situations in the Straits of Hormuz. And Mike Waltz, who's the ambassador to the UN, talked about how the United States actually got involved in some infrastructure bombing, and here's what he had to say.
Most of the targets that we've hit the last several nights have been directly aimed at Iran's radars, sensors, drones, and missile batteries right there on the strait to eliminate and degrade their ability to attack the global economy. So we're going to take that leverage off the table. Our great military and Pete Hegseth continue to do that. But at the same time, let's not forget we have more talks going on in Lebanon. We're taking that off the table, too, for the first time perhaps ever. The Israeli government, the Lebanese government are working together to eliminate and disarm Iran's proxy Hezbollah. We've completely flipped the script there. We're taking the leverage off the table in terms of the Straits of Hormuz. The negotiations are continuing on the nuclear program. And oh, by the way, Maria, the oil prices are the same as they were pre-war.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the big stories there is how Israel and Lebanon is working together to eliminate Hamas, not Hamas, Hezbollah. So we'll see how that goes. That's a big deal.
Absolutely. That is a big surprise.
All right. Those are our top stories today. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
All God's children of love and light. Every heart will be united.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life? Now's the time to call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The world has a view, but God has the vision. That's what sets a Vision TV show apart, seen on the Dove TV.
Welcome to The Vision, where the world has a view, but God has the vision.
The Vision is an inspirational talk show that elevates voices of faith through powerful conversations, highlighting changemakers making a difference.
My group, we are a collective of elder rights activists from across the nation.
Each episode blends heartfelt storytelling with practical insight.
To get up every day and just say, Lord, thank you. I'm here. If you woke me up today, you must have a purpose for me, and I think that's the thing.
Encouraging viewers to live with clarity, compassion, and vision.
We're looking for good things because this is the day that the Lord has made.
Join Alveda King and a panel of friends. The world has a view, but God has the vision. Tuesdays at 1:30 and 8:30 p.m. right here on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back on this Back at It Monday morning. A lot going on in the news. The passing of Senator Lindsey Graham, the conflict in the Middle East, and the war in Ukraine. And in our own backyard, we have a serious problem called the East Evans Creek Fire. It is now up to about 3,100 acres. A little bit of a picture of the map there. If you're in and around that area, you know where the various zones are as to getting ready, think about leaving, and then those which you have to go, must go. And this fire started a couple of days ago. It's now up to 3,100 acres. Containment is about 5%. It's in some steep terrain. And there's about 1,000 personnel on the scene, some of which are support personnel, as supporting the various teams that go in and out and literally fight on the fire line. They did create a lot of smoke over the weekend right down over the valley. That picture there was just a couple of hours ago, and you can see the glow. And that's just to the north of us a little bit from the valley. On the ground, we have 5 aircraft sitting right outside our door, 3 at the tanker base, 2 over here on the tarmac with the lead plane. And I'm sure they'll be dispatched. There is thought that the DC-10 could return. It was here earlier, but it left. As to whether or not it returns, we'll see. But we do have 5 aircraft, and they seem to be rotating through that quite well. The way they handle that is just amazing, how they have a lead plane, and they got a plane way up top, kind of acting like a control tower. They got quite a few helicopters on the scene. So the resources are there. The evacuation notices continue to be in place. It is still very serious. It's 3,100 acres, 5% contained, and it's very hot and dry. And the factor that can be good, can be a blessing and can be a curse, is the wind. You just don't know what the wind's going to do. And boy, when it's up and going, and got to remember now, fires create their own wind. And the heat moving around the way that it does. So it's very dangerous. There was a couple of scenes where you could see these frontline guys doing what they do, and then all of a sudden it just flares up right in their face. And so it's very dangerous work. Certainly be in prayer. Stay away from the area, obviously. In fact, a lot of those roads are blocked off now. But it's, if you know our area at all, it's just kind of like to the east of Rogue River and to the west of Shady Cove. It's kind of in that area. Up off Evans Creek, and away it goes. So we'll keep an eye on it. It's very serious, very serious. So it's kind of got things going. One other little local news, there is a little bit of a poll out. Steve, you'd be interested to know that Christine Drazan is literally ahead of Governor Kotek in the latest poll.
Interesting. I've noticed Governor Kotek has been writing specifically about Christine Drazan in some of her tweets.
Yeah.
And you don't normally acknowledge that unless it is a threat. And of course, Christine Drazan ran in the last election, and I think she did quite well. She might have gotten some poor advice later on in the campaign, but I am glad people are taking another look at her.
Well, there's another. The big thing about the Oregon politics this go around is you don't throw a $15 billion tax bill on the citizens, and then you compromise with a $4.3 billion tax bill to solve a $350 million problem. The whole thing is just crazy, and it blew up in her face. And the citizens took control of this through a citizens referendum, And
You're talking about Tina Kotek.
Yeah, took the whole thing under control and basically shoved it back down her throat and say, no, we don't want this. And it really left a bad taste, not to mention the fact that now she wants to get affordability, she wants to get business friendly, all the things that she's opposed. So people are seeing through the nonsense of it, you know, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, if you look at the 36 counties of Oregon, every one of them turned red on the tax issue. Every one of them, including the really deep blue counties.
Do you think that was the straw, the political straw that, pretty much broke the camel's back? Was that the action that turned people against Tina Kotek, or was it a whole series of things?
Well, I think if you sit back and you look at this, that was the one, yes. I would say that she pushed too far. She mismanaged it, calls them into a special session while she takes off and goes to Hawaii or someplace. She never shows up during the special session. She starts the special session trying to fix a $350 million problem in ODOT, pushes $15 billion in taxes, settles it down to $4.3 billion, and calls that a good deal. And the whole thing was just politics in the raw, and Oregonians saw through this. In the meantime, our gas prices went crazy. ODOT is still kind of a mess. And when you look at this, it's just tax and spend, and not to mention all the other liberal nonsense that comes out of that. So it could be that Oregon is saying, all right, we've had enough of this. We got to try something else. And Christine is certainly a viable alternative, and she's experienced. She understands it. She understands the budget, all these other things, and understands agencies and how they work. I mean, that's a big deal when you're running for a public office. Do you know how the system works?
You still have Portland and Salem, though, and Eugene that kind of hold the key to all of this. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Politics is a really weird thing. You run against a system that you want to become a part of.
That's a good point. Yeah,
it's kind of a weird thing. So,
and hopefully want to change.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's take a quick look at the satellite image. Here's what's going on with the weather scene out there. We got some stuff over the top of us. Some high clouds move around. The problem with these clouds is we got heat, and they could produce some afternoon thunderstorm activity. So we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. But the only thing I can say is it's still going to be very warm. We're going to be in the 90s before we back down. It's kind of up into the 90s, down to the 80s, up into the 90s, down in the 80s. We're kind of in that pattern over the next week or so. So be careful out there.
Yeah. You know, the late Lindsey Graham had an interesting relationship with Donald Trump because he was opposing Donald Trump in his first round of the election, and then became really good buddies with him, playing golf and all the rest of it. As you say, isn't politics an interesting thing? Well, it was 10 years ago that he announced his presidential run in front of the building that was once his parents' store. And he was asked about that decision during a C-SPAN interview.
You announced in Central South Carolina.
Yes.
The backdrop was what was once the Sanitary Cafe. I've got to ask you, first of all, where did that name come from for your mom?
It just sounds good. Who wouldn't want to eat in the Sanitary Cafe? Good marketing. My dad.
What did that feel like for you?
Overwhelming. Number one, neither one of my parents finished high school. I'm the first in my family to go to college, but to have my sister do this was just all I could do to speak, quite frankly. We grew up, we owned a liquor store, restaurant, bar, pool room. That's why I'd be a good president. I ran the pool room. We literally lived in the back of the restaurant bar until I was in high school when we bought a house. We lived in one room, but I was incredibly well loved. When I was 21, my mom was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease. She passed within 6 months, and we got wiped out financially. We were an underinsured family. 15 months later, my dad passes. My sister's 13. We move in with an aunt and uncle that never made over $25,000 in their lives. If it weren't for Social Security survivor benefits coming to my sister, we'd had a hard time paying the bills. And my aunt and uncle helped me raise my sister, and I finished college and just retired from the Air Force. So when I was thinking about appearing in front of the store, I was thinking about growing up on the streets of that town and my parents. And oh my God, if there's ever an example of the American dream, that was it.
What a story, huh?
Yeah, he goes on and talks about that. Of course, as you know, he announced, and he didn't go very far in the campaign, but he ended up raising his sister, and they go off, and then he serves in the Air Force for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And comes out, runs for the Senate, and served in the Senate for 23 years. He's survived by his sister, and that's all the family was, and is. But, Lindsey Graham, he was a little slippery sometimes. You didn't know where he was in some of the things. One day he's for something, the next day he was against it. But he had some Trumpish moves. He would say one thing to move the ball in another direction, and then turn around and say something else to move it in another direction. But at the end of the day, he and the president were friends. In fact, the president said yesterday, we lost a family member. So that's pretty.
That's something. He said, he was like a member of the family. And
yeah.
I'd call him on his private phone until the president said, Lindsey, stop calling me so much.
Well, did he wake him up? I doubt it.
I don't think the president slept, so he was busy doing something else.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, those are some of the top stories on this. Back at it Monday morning. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect. Jerry's Historical Archives. Moments to remember. Go back in time. Back in the day. TV shows of the past. Relive the past and learn something new. Open up Jerry's Historical Archives. Weekdays only on Mornings on the Dove. In a time when our culture faces unprecedented challenges.
I want to talk about the role of a Christian even in a hostile culture.
Christian apologist and evangelist Alex McFarland addresses the hard-hitting questions about faith, morality, and culture.
People are hungry for truth, and we've got to rise to the challenge of our assignment as the church.
Know your faith better to be equipped to defend it in a world searching for answers.
But when you put the face of an earthly man on God, then you're never going to understand who God is.
God takes pleasure in you, and the very sight of you is joy and blessing.
Alex McFarland, inspiring believers through apologetics to boldly stand for truth in a critical time. Catch him Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative. More at thedove.us.
Okay, welcome back. Well, the passing of Senator Lindsey Graham really has kind of rocked the world. He was in Turkey with the president at NATO. Then when NATO was over, he went up to Ukraine. He was with Zelensky up there. And of course, President Zelensky was really mourning the loss because it was just hours before they were together. And apparently had put together a fairly good deal that would probably have led to some kind of maybe ceasefire and peace deal. But he was also a real friend of Israel, a really deep friend of Israel. And as you heard earlier, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu certainly is mourning the loss. So this morning, CBN News reports primarily on the passing of Senator Lindsey Graham.
And breaking news today, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham died suddenly at the age of 71. The longtime South Carolina senator and one of the most influential and even controversial Republican voices in Washington died following what his office is calling a brief and sudden illness. Graham had just returned from a trip to Ukraine, and tributes are now pouring in from President Trump, members of Congress, and world leaders. Joining me to discuss this tragic and breaking news. CBN chief political analyst David Brody and CBN senior White House correspondent Kelly Wright. And gentlemen, this is obviously shocking news, to say the least. I mean, yes, Graham's, 71, which is these days, there's plenty of life left there typically, and otherwise he seemed very well. He was just seen on camera, and like you said, he was going to be appearing on Meet the Press this morning. He was supposed to be there, and so from the outside, looked like he was doing well, but emergency personnel reportedly responded to a cardiac arrest call at his Capitol Hill residence last night. So, gentlemen, I appreciate you being here. Kelly, I'll start with you. What's your reaction here?
Well, it's like most reactions from other people following the life and legacy of Senator Lindsey Graham. It's one of shock. He had just returned from a trip to Ukraine, and he was talking to the President of the United States last night. Mr. Trump went on to say that he was actually talking on the phone with Lindsey Graham, and he said Lindsey expressed that he was tired, but ready to get up in the morning to do an interview with Meet the Press, to talk about Ukraine, to talk about Iran, and to talk about all of the things that had mattered to him most. And the president was surprised as well to discover that someone that he learned to respect, someone who became a very good friend of his and a staunch ally of his, even though they began as competitors on the campaign trail. This was someone that he would miss, and that it's a blow to his administration and to the future of his political agenda. And of course, they talked about the possibility of replacing, but the president said, I don't want to talk about anything except Lindsey Graham right now. In fact, he wouldn't even get into the discussions about what's happening in Iran. So it's a shock to me, waking up in the morning, finding out that he had passed. Lindsey Graham will be missed in the Senate. He'll be missed in Congress by Republicans and Democrats alike. Ukraine would not have the defense power, the offensive power that it has in its war with Russia, were it not for the efforts of Senator Lindsey Graham speaking so vociferously in defense of Ukraine's right to exist and to repel an enemy from Vladimir Putin and Russia. And even the president of the United States got an earful of that kind of discussion that Senator Lindsey Graham had, as well as on Iran. He's always been a staunch proponent of making sure that Iran would not have a nuclear weapon. And to that point, one person who's going to miss him greatly and stated so much was Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, who said, look, I've lost a very good friend. America, in his opinion, has lost a very great patriot who supported America, stood with Israel, and would not waver in any form or fashion.
All right, David, your reaction?
Well, yeah, I mean, to Kelly's point about shock, I think the first thing, at least internally in my mind, was, wait, what? I'm sorry, what's happening here? 71 years old. And let me just start on a spiritual note, a faith note, and because I don't want to bury the lead, but life is fleeting. You don't know when you're going to pass in this earth. And so I would just say that, quite frankly, the most important thing I think we can all say today on this breaking news coverage is, are you right with God? Because you never know when you're going to take your last breath. Cardiac arrest, and boom, he's gone. We don't want that to happen to anyone that doesn't know Jesus Christ in a real and personal way. And so I think that was, quite frankly, guys, my first reaction.
Yeah.
And so here at CBN, we don't bury the lead, and that is the lead of all leads, if you will.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dan.
I just got to say, I had the same exact reaction, David. That was my first thought, because this was so out of left field. As I was saying at the beginning, he was appearing like he was doing very well as far as health goes. I don't think anyone ever thought there were any issues there. And so you just don't know. And that's why it's so shocking. It's like one day you're up and you're out and you're doing your job and you're going about your business. And then the next day, that's it. And you're right, David, that urgency there to get right with God this is one of those moments that puts that into crystal clear perspective.
I would say to add to that, Senator Tim Scott echoed the same sentiments in closing his interview with Kristen Welker today on NBC's Meet the Press. He said, look, this is a time to tell your loved ones that you love them, because you don't know if you'll have the next day to do that. And that's clearly where we stand. And of course, in terms of where we stand as CBN, David's right, and Dan, you're right. Always put God first. And every single day, every breath of your life, put God first. And we pray that the senator and the president and others have done that, because we do not know when will be our last breath.
That seems to be echoing across. This is a subtle reminder of how fragile life really is. Good stuff. All right, let's check out the weather as we head into this new week.
Here's a look at your Monday weather from Grange Co-op. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with afternoon highs in the upper 80s in Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville, while Wilsonville tops out near 90. Through the Willamette Valley, sunny conditions continue in Salem and Albany near 88. Corvallis climbs to 87 and UT finishes near 88 before returning to the 50s overnight. Mostly sunny in central Oregon and 94 in Pineville. Bend tops out near 90 and Sun River hits 89. Boise turns much hotter with patchy smoke, followed by mostly sunny skies and a high of 100. Along the Oregon coast, mostly sunny skies and 68 in Coos Bay and 66 in Port Orford. Brookings sees decreasing clouds with a high of 57, while Crescent City starts with patchy fog before turning partly sunny and 62. In southern Oregon, hot conditions continue with 96 in Grants Pass and 97 in Medford. Ashland stays mostly sunny with a high of 93, while Klamath Falls was partly sunny and reaches 88. Across Northern California, increasing clouds in Wairika and 95. Redding reaches 100 and Chico 98 with a chance of rain before hot, partly sunny skies. In Fort Bragg, slight chance of thunderstorms and a high near 61. Around the Bay Area, Santa Rosa reaches 91 with decreasing clouds. Napa gradually clears near 90. Over in San Francisco, partly sunny with a high of 77. And San Jose sees decreasing clouds with a high of 90. For Central California, Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto reach 96 with a slight chance of rain before a hot afternoon. Fresno, Visalia, and Bakersfield stay hot with highs of 104. That's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op.
Well, welcome back to Jerry's Historical Archives this morning. And this one's kind of interesting, dealing with the greatest careers in entertainment history. Apparently, I have no idea who this is, began today. Let's take a look.
On July 13th, 1939, a young singer named Frank Sinatra recorded his very first commercial record, From the Bottom of My Heart, backed by the Harry James Orchestra. Few could have imagined it was the beginning of one of the greatest careers in entertainment history. By the 1940s, Old Blue Eyes had become America's first true teen idol, drawing screaming crowds decades before the Beatles or modern rock stars. His unforgettable hits included My Way, New York, New York, and dozens of timeless classics. Though his life included well-publicized highs and lows, Sinatra became known in later years for his generosity, quietly giving millions to charities and those in need. After the death of his mother, he also experienced a renewed commitment to his Catholic faith. And fittingly, when Sinatra passed away in 1998, the words engraved on his headstone weren't My Way, but the title of another beloved song, The Best Is Yet to Come.
You know, I had heard, I read where he got tired of singing My Way because it was kind of his end signature number. And it just, think how many times he probably sang it I don't know that he agreed with the whole aspect of what my way was about, but I got a little tired of it.
I thought he would have. I tried it my way and it didn't work.
Yeah. Isn't that the way it kind of ends up going?
All right.
Well, I'll tell you what, we were surprised at how quickly we saw Senator Lindsey Graham die after talking to the president. He had just come back from a trip, to Ukraine. And while he was there, so this was really just hours before he died, he talked about some of the things that you mentioned, Perry, the success of a new plan that he had to end the war between Ukraine and Russia.
The road to ending this war, the road to peace, passes through Beijing more than it does Washington, Kyiv, or Moscow. China has an oversized influence. I'd like them to use their influence for the good of the world. I don't believe Putin is there yet, but it wouldn't take much to get him there. And the sooner we can have a dialogue about peace, the quicker this war is over. I've never been more optimistic than I am today that we have the formula to end this war. Help Ukraine be more lethal. Let those supporting Russia to know it's going to be a price to be paid if you keep doing it. And to try to find an off-ramp, not to humiliate Putin, but to end this war so that Ukraine will thrive and survive.
So there was a plan. It clearly included China. Now, whether this will continue on, we'll have to wait and see, because I'm not sure if this can be handed off to other Republicans in Congress or how that'll work out. But I thought that was interesting.
So I'm trying to figure out what he meant by China.
Right. Somehow playing a huge role, probably with assisting Russia right now. I don't know. I mean, there you go. You can speculate with the details of it all, but it certainly wasn't just Russia and Ukraine and the United States. He incorporated China within that whole solution package.
If you could leave all of the things aside, if there is a peace agreement to the war in Ukraine, doesn't, at the end of the day, doesn't it say that Russia lost?
And I think that's the problem. Putin would have a hard time swallowing that. So how can you make him leave gracefully? That's a challenge.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, those are some of the top stories. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
Hey, this is Ed, co-owner of Visiting Angels. To continue to serve our seniors, we need more caregivers with a heart to serve. Our mission statement is honoring the art of giving, which means we honor you, the caregiver. We know it's our people that make Visiting Angels the best in-home care provider and a great place to work. Come be our next amazing caregiver. Give us a call or apply online. At Visiting Angels, we're committed to you because we honor the art of giving.
Real Life with Jack Hibbs, now on the Dove TV every weekend. Direct from Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, Jack challenges today's generation to understand and practice a biblical worldview, verse by verse, addressing key cultural and daily life issues. Deepen your walk with Christ to make an effective impact on your world. Don't miss Real Life with Jack Hibbs, Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little
All right, 12 minutes before the hour. Welcome back. Steve is with us this morning from the Southern Command. You got your cup of coffee, one or two?
I have, this is my second one. Yeah. Oh, it's getting cold. And hey, there's nothing wrong with a cold cup of coffee, is there?
In your world, no. And what is it?
It is dark roast Lavazza.
And that's from?
Very good. Well, Lavazza, it's Amazon. I get it delivered.
Oh, do you?
I do. It's very good. Yeah. And they'll deliver it like sometimes the same day. And it's like, how do they roast the beans and package it and get it all in there?
Yeah.
And I still get it the same day. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Good stuff. All right.
It is.
Well, the other day I had Jonathan Tobin on. I've always honored when I have a chance to sit down with him. He's the chief editor for the Jerusalem News Syndicate. And we were talking about all the things going on and the ups and downs of the Middle East. And I asked him a pretty pointed question because I was curious from his perspective. I said, do you think the president is getting bad advice about how to handle the Middle East? And here's what he had to say.
You know, the United States is chasing after something, as it did under the Obama administration, I'm sorry to say, because this is kind of like that. They're chasing after something that's unattainable. And so Iran's tactics are always to say yes, then say no, basically, you know, drive the Western negotiators crazy, which is reflected in some of President Trump's comments this week. President Trump is trying to, you know, smack them around and get them to behave, but he hasn't gone all the way back. He hasn't drawn the ultimate conclusion, although it sounded like it earlier this week. I don't think he has. He's just trying to raise the ante and force the Iranians to be more reasonable. That isn't going to work. I mean, he thinks he's involved in a real estate negotiation. That's how he operates. And that really works in most instances. It works really well in most instances in international diplomacy, much better than what the foreign policy establishment thinks is good. Well, I think he has gotten bad advice from some members of his team. I think, his Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, and his son-in-law / advisor, Jared Kushner, they are, deal makers. They believe in, diplomacy for its own sake. They believe in, that this is a business operation. I think Vice President J.D. Vance and some other people in the administration just want this war to be over. And, that resonated for Trump because he doesn't want a long war. He doesn't want this to last because, this involves a tremendous amount of expenditure of scarce political capital that has already been expended this year.
Well, he goes on to say it's possible the president maybe, in the way he's handled this war, looking for any means of diplomacy, which obviously doesn't seem to be working now, and to the overall point, probably never will with the mindset of these people. He always has a way out, and the way out is that I tried everything we could, but now there's nothing left but to finish the job. So we'll see how this plays out. But earlier we had the story where apparently, according to Ambassador Waltz, that we backed away from the problem in Lebanon, which is a big deal because if you're going to let Israel and Lebanon handle Hezbollah, that's a pretty big policy switch. And the question is now, over the weekend, apparently we did bomb some infrastructure inside Iran. What does that tell you? So maybe there is a shift within the policy of what's going on with the Middle East, especially there in Iran as it relates to the Straits of Hormuz. But I don't think the president could ever be criticized, as much as people don't like him, that he could ever be criticized for not trying.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. And in fact, some people say, okay, now it's time for final action to end all of this.
So the question is, do you do the final action now or after the midterms?
There is a political strategy going on, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a difficult one to manage because there's consequences on both sides of that equation. But I think the mood of the world would be, I haven't heard anybody else. I mean, Europe's kind of a weird bunch of people over there. I'm not sure how that works out, but I haven't heard anybody say, wait. I haven't
Right.
heard,
And can we wait that long for the midterms?
I haven't heard anybody say wait.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, all right, coming up, Tom Del Picaro will be back with us, former chairman of the Republican Party in California. Interesting guy, author. He's a contributor to a lot of the main news sources out there. We'll be talking about Senator Graham's passing and the socialist movement in this country. What happens now? I will have to say this. I was just sickened. Just literally sickened by some of the comments on the news networks over the weekend with the passing of Senator Graham. I thought these people just have dark souls. You know, you can't. Are you telling me you can't? I don't know. It was just awful. It was just awful. David Rubin will be with us, former mayor of Shiloh, Israel. We'll Skype him in, and we'll be discussing from his perspective Israeli intelligence. And what's going on there. And by the way, it was the Israelis' intelligence that unraveled the idea that Iran had a plan to assassinate President Trump. It was Israelis' intelligence discovered that. So we'll talk to him about that coming up.
Yeah, I heard more about that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that we have enough time for Jerry to talk about bees this hour. We could do that, save that.
No, you got time. Go for it.
Well, let's hear it.
Okay.
Scientists at Oregon State University say they've found no documented pesticide-related bee deaths since 2021, a remarkable turnaround after a major bee die-off more than a decade ago. The change didn't happen by accident. Thousands of landscapers, farmers, and gardeners were trained on how to protect pollinators, while communities across the state learned how to create bee-friendly habitats. Oregon is also home to more than 560 species of bees, making it one of the nation's most diverse pollinator habitats. Researchers say the success proves that when people are given the right information, they really can make a difference, one flower and one bee at a time.
Well, that's good to hear, because I remember when that warning came out that we were having bee die-offs. And Perry, I know you've talked about the importance of bees to agriculture in general. So that's actually very good news.
My first 4-H project, and I remember that very, very well to this day. And the only thing I can say is that you better hug a bee, because without a bee, you're not going to eat. And he makes a good point there, because I did ask the question one time, never got the answer, but maybe there's a little bit of truth to this.
What's that?
Was the rise of cancer related to disease in the bee colonies?
Oh, that's interesting.
And how they pollinated food. How weird is that one?
Well, might have some legitimacy there. That's
there you go. All right, take with you the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verses 12 and 13. This is my commandment, Jesus said, that you love one another as I have loved you. And no one has greater love than this, that they lay down one's life for a friend. Would you do that? Well, think about that. All right, we'll be right back.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
In today's world, we've become too used to hearing bad news. Why not help share a little good news instead? With custom-designed messages in both English and Spanish, manufactured right here in the USA. Wearing apparel from Good News Products is a small but mighty way to help lift the spirits of friends, family, coworkers, and more. Visit goodnewsproductsusa.com today. Use the QR code and take 15% off your first order. Good News Products, because everybody loves good news.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian owned and operated, pet friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare. Your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon. You're watching theDove TV, encouraging and informative for San Francisco and the Bay Area. Seen on KURK3 and these Dove TV affiliates. Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you, and welcome to Mornings on the Dove on this Monday morning. We got Steve Johnson sipping a cup of coffee, live and direct from the Southern Command down there on his second cup, which is now cold.
It is. It's cold, but that's okay.
Yes, by the way, I don't know if I have it here. I'll look at it. I have a funny quote about coffee. I'll give it to you here in a minute.
Oh, all right.
It's a good one. Anyway, good morning to you. A lot going on in the news. And of course, the big news, the sudden passing of Senator Lindsey Graham. And in our own backyard, we have really, the nightmare has arrived, and that is we have a bad fire just to the north of us here in Medford. It's called the East Evan Creek Fire. And I think we have a picture of a couple of hours ago, just to give you an idea, just before sunrise. That's taken from Roxanne looking across the valley. That's the fire, which is now 3,100 acres, only 5% contained. We'll give you the details on that coming up in a few moments. But if you're living in and around that area, you know about the evacuation notices. A lot of the roads are closed. About 1,000 personnel on that fire. We'll give you a complete update on that coming up in just a few moments. So a lot going on with that this morning. So otherwise, good morning to you. It is Monday. It's back at it. What do you got for us today?
Well, it's one of the simplest days to kind of think of food, in that it's Frank and Beans Day. Now, we're talking about, yes, those little sliced wieners that you can put in with beans, and, you throw a little bacon in there. Oh, baby. You have a very simple and great summer kind of a thing to have and eat. There's, can you imagine hot dogs wrapped with bacon? It just doesn't get any better than that. And I'm sure that all the Europeans and the Scandinavians over here for FIFA would love to have ranch sauce with it, too. I have no idea if that would taste good, but they seem like ranch sauce on everything. So there it is right there. It's also Barbershop Quartet Day. So if you want to get
your favorite.
Yeah. Well, there's other forms of music that I care for even less, but that one, it's not that it's bad. It's just a little bit of it goes a long way.
Okay.
And, we're thinking, we came up, I think, with a great combination of the Bill Gaither Trio when Gary McSpadden was there. And who was the other singer we talked about, the fourth singer? Pat Boone.
Pat Boone.
Could sing with them. Start a whole new genre, wave of excitement.
These are people that should just play their own records of the past.
You think so? Yeah. Well, didn't you say Pat Boone realized he can't quit hit the notes like he used to, so he quit singing?
Yes.
A lot of artists should take that cue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so it's Barbershop Quartet and Frank and Beans.
You know what one artist was that never lost his quality of voice? Robert Goulet. He was always terrific. Along with the Velvet Fog, who sang as well. And I know, Perry, you have a special place in your heart for those singers.
Yeah.
Robert Goulet, one of your favorites, right? You got the greatest hits.
You know,
volume
Robert
1 through 3,
Goulet to me is what a barbershop quartet is to you.
Oh.
No, he was not one of my favorites. All right, good morning to you. Here's one of our favorites, and the guy, Alfred, doing the weather this morning.
Here's a look at your Monday weather from Grange Killop. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with afternoon highs in the upper 80s in Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville, while Wilsonville tops out near 90. Through the Willamette Valley, sunny conditions continue in Salem and Albany near 88. Corvallis climbs to 87 and Eugene finishes near 88 before returning to the 50s overnight. Mostly sunny in central Oregon and 94 in Pineville. Bend tops out near 90 and Sun River hits 89. Boise turns much hotter with patchy smoke, followed by mostly sunny skies and a high of 100. Along the Oregon coast, mostly sunny skies and 68 in Coos Bay and 66 in Port Orford. Brookings sees decreasing clouds with a high of 57, while Crescent City starts with patchy fog before turning partly sunny and 62. In southern Oregon, hot conditions continue with 96 in Grants Pass and 97 in Medford. Ashland stays mostly sunny with a high of 93, while Klamath Falls was partly sunny and reaches 88. Across Northern California, increasing clouds in Wairika and 95. Redding reaches 100 and Chico 98 with a chance of rain before hot, partly sunny skies. In Fort Bragg, slight chance of thunderstorms and a high near 61. Around the Bay Area, Santa Rosa reaches 91 with decreasing clouds. Napa gradually clears near 90. Over in San Francisco, partly sunny with a high of 77. And San Jose sees decreasing clouds with a high of 90. For Central California, Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto reach 96 with a slight chance of rain before a hot afternoon. Fresno, Visalia, and Bakersfield stay hot with highs of 104. That's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op.
And there's a picture of our valley. You can see the smoke out there. That's looking almost directly at the fire to the northeast, to the northwest a little bit. So we do have some clouds over the top of it. They probably will be pushed out by the heat later on. And the smoke is moving around, has a lot to do with the wind. We'll give you a fire update coming up here in just a moment.
Wow. It's an amazing situation going on there. This is that time of year, so be aware of everything. Well, one person who can give us all sorts of inspiration no matter what your day or week is going to be like is a person we'd like to hear from, and that is Johnny Erickson Tana.
You probably can see that the scoliosis in my spine is getting worse. I keep slumping to the side. And the worse it gets, the more the enemy attacks my joy in the Lord. And when I feel the crunch of hard pain, I could even lose the joy of my salvation. Now, never would I discard my salvation, but I can find myself just putting my head down and plowing through. But I don't believe that's the way God wants us to live with scoliosis or any pain. Look, the Bible says that the joy of the Lord is our strength. So I'm believing it. For the joy set before him, Jesus went through hell and back, and in so doing, he secured for you and me his joy. Friend, if you are in pain, fix your eyes on Jesus and everything he gained for you through his suffering, then step into his joy.
Amen.
You know, of all the problems she has had, I did not know she had scoliosis as well, you know, as being a quadriplegic, and you add that to the mix. I mean, apparently she must have had it for a long time. She is not a complainer, is she?
No. She is just being who she is in itself is such a testimony of endurance. And keep going. Just keep going. So good stuff. All right, let's take a look at some of the top stories this morning. Of course, the the big one is the sudden and surprising death of Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina. He passed away over the weekend after returning home from a foreign trip. Actually, he was in Turkey with NATO, with the president. Then he goes up to Ukraine, and he was up there and in high negotiations and flew home. He was home a couple hours. He calls the president and wakes him up, I guess. I don't know. It was early in the morning. And then after that conversation, the president gets a call back shortly thereafter that the senator had passed away. Apparently, it was a problem with his aorta, no symptoms or anything else, but boom, he's gone. And he leaves behind an amazing legacy, colorful guy, served in the Air Force for quite a few decades, 30-something years in the Air Force. Comes out, runs for the U.S. Senate in South Carolina, and was there 23 years, almost 24 years as a senator. He just recently won his re-election primary. And so now there will be a scramble as to who will take his place. And there's quite the procedures. There's several options before the governor, the Republican State Party in South Carolina. I guess the president may weigh in a little bit. Who knows? Do they take a member from the House and move it over? Do they get somebody else? Does the governor himself? I mean, there's all kinds of options here. Bottom line is somebody will be appointed as a caretaker of that seat between now and the time that they do a special primary, which probably will be pulled off by early August in order to prepare that candidate to become the nominee in the general election. So, but in the meantime, it has sent shockwaves across the world. He was quite a guy, and his legacy is pretty remarkable. But I thought one of the most interesting response to the passing of Senator Lindsey Graham is when Franklin Graham was asked on Fox News to pay tribute to him, and his response is pretty interesting and yet very timely.
Let me just say, this time yesterday, Lindsey Graham didn't think he'd be standing before God. And when we went to bed last night, we didn't think we'd wake up this morning, we'd be talking about Lindsey Graham, death. Death comes for all of us, and we need to be prepared. There's no person that's going to escape death, and it's coming. The Bible says it's appointed unto man once to die, and then the judgment. We're going to have to stand before God. And the only way God will receive us is if we come to Him accepting His Son, Jesus Christ, and following Him and making Him the Lord of our life and surrendering our lives to Him. That's the only way we're going to make it to heaven, presence of God. And Lindsey Graham was a great American, and I know that he had a strong faith. And I just will miss him, and I enjoyed working with him the few times I worked with him on some issues. And he was just a great American, and America's lost a statesman, and he's going to be hard to replace.
Well, there you go. He never married. He is, his sister is the only remaining relative that he had.
Yeah.
And so we'll hear more about that. The president has ordered the flags to be flown half-staff, so we'll see how that goes throughout the rest of the week or so. But I'm sure behind the scenes the political movement is on. There's some names floating around, and the president yesterday already said he had somebody in mind, but he wouldn't tell us who it is. So I don't know if the president has much influence on a process like that. He may have, I don't know. I mean, he sticks his nose in a lot of things, but I don't know. Normally, the governor of the state and the party of the state of the person who either resigns or has passed, like Lindsey Graham has, will get involved in the process. But it's high politics going on in South Carolina right now.
Yeah. Well, and the president has shown that he does have influence anyway. I mean, he can't direct who is going to be the replacement, but he can certainly have some influence on that. Senator Tim Scott on the news shows said, no matter who it is that is chosen, it's going to be hard to replace Lindsey Graham.
I don't know another person who spent his entire adult life for one purpose: to make sure America remained the safest country on the planet to live. It was literally, I think of his sister, and then I think of America. That would be the two major ingredients to Lindsey Graham's family. And he was just that committed to our country.
And President Trump had a Truth Social posting where he said Graham was one of the greatest people and senators he's known. He was always working, a true American patriot, and he will be greatly missed.
Yeah. Well, it's a shock. It's set shockwaves through the political world and the geopolitical world. So we'll see what happens. And I would imagine possibly by the end of today, or certainly by tomorrow, we'll hear a name float up quickly. It's a very important seat. When you got the margins so thin in the House and in the Senate for Republican control, they're going to have to get something going pretty soon, because Senator Graham was one of the great champions of the SAVE Act. And he pretty much thought he was putting pressure on Senator Thune to get this through. And he was pretty confident that sooner or later they're going to push it through. Well, now what? You know, what do you do? So the other thing that goes on in the Middle East, we continue to do some bombing. The United States is continuing to bomb inside Iran and now hitting some very strategic targets of infrastructure. Mike Waltz, who's the UN ambassador to the UN, talks about that on Fox News, and here's what he had to say. Okay, we'll get the audio there.
We have some audio problems there.
Okay, we have some audio problems. We'll figure that out here in a moment. But he basically was saying that the United States has now gone after some infrastructures inside Iran. The sanctions now are back on. Total sanctions are back on. They're hitting some infrastructure. They're very strategic. I'm not sure what they are. And all of this has to do with the Straits of Hormuz, which continues to be the controversy as Iran continues to fire drones at ships that are have flags of other countries. You kind of wonder, okay, this is international water. What's the deal here? And how long will this be tolerated? Now, the week of mourning of losing their supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, that's pretty much behind them now. So kind of like we're back to where we're going to finish the job. And it appears that the president now looks like he is leaning towards finishing the job. But what does that mean?
There's the question right there. And how soon will he do it? You know, how can you wait until the primary elections take place coming up in, weeks? You probably have to do it right away. And like you said, you haven't really heard of anybody who says, wait, this is no time to finish it. They're saying pretty much if you're going to do it now.
The other thing that the Ambassador Waltz was going to tell us this morning is that apparently the United States is backed away from putting pressure on Israel as it relates to what's going on in Lebanon. And Israel and Lebanon and the government of Lebanon are working together to eliminate Hezbollah inside Lebanon. That's a big switch in policy just within the last couple of days. So that's interesting that the president has backed away from that, which probably means he's backed away from Syria, getting involved in that. So, gosh, it's complicated.
Yeah.
It's really complicated. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
If you don't drive it, donate it. By supporting us, you'll get even more mileage out of it.
Thank you from the Dove TV.
What if the school you chose shaped who your child becomes forever? At Rogue Valley Adventist Academy, every lesson begins with purpose. We are a pre-K through 12th grade private school built on one mission: to educate, mold, and inspire service through a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, where students find their voice through music. Build tomorrow's solutions in our makerspace. Compete with heart and integrity on the court, and prepare for real life every single day. Our VAA is a safe, student-centered community where every child is known by name, not just a number. From pre-K through 12th grade, your child will be challenged, supported, and loved. Enroll now. Openings are limited. Visit rvaa.us or call 541-773-2988. Rogue Valley Adventist Academy, located in Medford. Join in and stand out.
The Dove TV is pleased to announce we're now seen in the Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto area via a new full-power TV station, KEDS, seen on cable, satellite TV, and over the air. The Dove TV, encouraging and informative for the Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto area on new full-power KEDS TV.
All right, welcome back. 18 minutes past the hour. By the way, we just mentioned we had Senator Tim Scott on from South Carolina, and he has since come out with a recommendation for a caretaker of the seat. Do you have any idea who it might be?
Oh, wow. I have no idea.
This is very interesting, and I didn't even think about this. Former South Carolina Representative Republican Trey Gowdy.
Oh, I think a lot of people thought, why did Trey leave? We needed him at that time, and yet he did. Oh, that would be great. I wonder if he, I think he would think of doing that, but he does have a Fox gig at this point. So I don't know how that would work out.
This would be a caretaking position. Now, whether or not he goes on for the nomination, the other name that he just floated was Senator Tim DeMint would return. So we'll see. I don't know.
There's a name I haven't heard for a long time.
Yeah. So these are possibilities, and the list is being assembled. And
I think Trey Gowdy. That would be a great thing to see. He has nothing to lose.
Could the Senate handle Trey Gowdy?
Oh, sure. Sure, yeah.
Well, you never know. You never know. And Trey Gowdy's really quite a man of faith, a strong faith, very strong faith. All right, well, listen, the big news in our own backyard is the East Evan Creek's fire that has broke out a couple of days ago. For those of you in and around that area, you know the evacuation notices. You have 3, 2, 1, and 1 is like, leave, now, out. Away you go. The fire has grown to a little over 3,100 acres, and their last report several hours ago, they said it was 5% contained. It is in some steep terrain, and I do know that there are special units on the scene now that their specialty is to protect structures. Apparently, Governor Kotek gave the okay for these teams to come down and to be a part of that operation. Over 1,000 personnel are on the fire. Now, some of those are support personnel, which is required, so because they rotate some of these frontline people. That picture there was taken early this morning, and that gives you an idea what's going on with the fire. It's all at the mercy of winds. Right outside our door, we have 3 tankers sitting at the tanker base. Those 2 there are sitting over on the tarmac along with the lead plane. They're sitting out on the tarmac this morning. So, so we have 5 planes here at the airport. They have a lead plane, and then sometimes they have a plane above them. Pray for the crew that's there. This is really difficult. It's our nightmare here in Southern Oregon, these fires around us like that. It did fill up the valley last night, but the winds have shifted now, and it's kind of moving east to west, but that probably will be temporary. And the forecast continues to be very hot and dry with very low humidity over the next several days. So very dangerous conditions, and be very protected. All right, let's take
no rain.
Yeah, no rain in sight whatsoever. And if there is, it could be these afternoon thunderstorms, which are problematic into themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at Wall Street for a Monday morning. Thank you, Preston with Smart Lawn. Thank you for helping us with this morning. And the Dow is back up 44.5 points. The NAS, however, has gone the other way. It's down 264 points this morning. And the S&P, which kind of drives everything, is down about 23, almost 24 points. So kind of a mixed bag at the ringing of the bell this morning. In the meantime, gold continues to decline a little bit, $4,050. Silver's down $58.50. And, excuse me, crude oil back up, it looks like $1, $77.28 a barrel. So those are the numbers this morning.
All right, you have just seconds to answer this in your own mind. If you had a perfect day, what would it consist of? All right? You don't have much time to think about this. It's probably the same amount of time that Lindsey Graham was asked that on C-SPAN, and as he gave his idea of what a perfect day would look like.
If you have nothing to do, a day that is totally free and open for Lindsey Graham, what do you enjoy doing?
Sleep as late as I can. I enjoy hunting. I enjoy playing golf with the buddies I grew up with. Nothing better than to go play golf with people I went to high school with. Come home, take a nap, go to a movie and dinner. Really simple stuff. I love to hunt. I love to go to movies. I love to play golf. The reason I like golf so much is I'm not very good at it, and I'm always trying to get better.
How do you get better?
Just by playing more, apparently, because I'm not getting better talking about it. You know, at the end of the day, golf is a great game. It tells you a lot about people. And it's a chance to get outside, spend some time with people that you like. It's just a great game. And at the end of the day, the thing I like most are the people that I'm the closest to. And a relaxing day for me is being around the people I care about, doing things I like.
Well, President Trump pretty much affirmed that. He said he liked to golf with Lindsey Graham, but he said he wasn't really that good of a golfer. Then again, who of us really are when you think of it, you know?
Well, how much golf do you play?
Not much. I played more in the past. I haven't done it lately. I would like to do that. It's too hot right now, though.
Yeah.
There's my excuse.
Well, it's been 2 years since I played my annual golf game.
Oh, that's right.
And I used to play one golf game a year in Atlanta with 5 preachers, 5 pastors. Well,
and one of them was Bob Gass.
Four pastors and an evangelist, and we played with
Bob.
and he was the evangelist. And we prayed what they called Hibernia golf, which is basically make up the rules as you go. You know, so if you don't think that preachers cheat, lie, and steal,
play Hibernia golf.
Play Hibernia golf with them. And you'll have a whole new view of the ministry. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
But the voice of truth tells me a different story. The voice of truth says do not be afraid.
Your yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free, and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm Guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
The world has a view, but God has the vision. That's what sets the Vision TV show apart. The Vision is an inspirational talk show that elevates voices of faith through powerful conversations, highlighting changemakers making a difference, blending heartfelt storytelling with practical insight, encouraging viewers to live life with clarity, compassion, and vision. Join Elvita King and friends for The Vision, Tuesdays right here on the Dove TV.
Hi, good morning. 29 minutes past the hour on a Back at It Monday morning. Steve Johnson down in the Southern Command having his second cup of cold coffee.
That's right. Got to get a third cup that's hot.
Do you like iced coffee?
I do, but it's got to be made right. I haven't quite got the art of that down yet, because you got to kind of have some mocha in there as well, some chocolate. That's where it gets a little bit difficult. But yes, I do like it if it's done right. Mm-hmm.
Do you get those little Starbucks things that in the jar that's cold?
They're expensive.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, let's be blunt about it. I like it, but that's kind of pricey for the little cans that they are.
Yeah, those are.
They're like the mini Coke size cans almost, and it's like, it's kind of expensive. But you're making me now want to go out and get one.
Okay. So when they put the mocha in it, do they whip that, or they just pour
I don't
it
know.
over the top?
No, it's somehow incorporated within it. I don't have it down. I would like to know. I'm sure you can go online and find out how to do the perfect one.
Steve, I'm surprised. I thought you were like the chief barista.
Well, but that's hot coffee. The other, you start getting iced, and it's like, okay, this really isn't the way the Italians did it.
Yeah.
So, I try to stay true to Italy and Roma, and the coffee.
Okay. All right, good stuff. By the way, congratulations to Skinner from Italy. He won the Wimbledon yesterday.
Oh, you know what?
He's number 2.
I have not watched any of that because of FIFA and soccer. That's been on my mind. So who was this that won?
Well, Skinner's his last name. He's from Italy, and he won his second Wimbledon. So it was quite the match, and it's what's neat to see about tennis. Of course, we follow tennis, but what's cool is to watch the next level and the next generation of players come on.
Yeah, that's why Skinner, the name is not familiar to me, but you said he won twice now, so.
Yeah.
Okay, he'll probably take ranch sauce and bring it back with him to Italy, just like all the FIFA people have done as well.
Good guy. He was a good guy. All right, well, let's check in with CBN News and get the latest in Israel and Iran.
As Israel mourns the loss of one of its best American friends and allies, U.S. and Iranian military forces are launching more strikes on each other amid conflicting reports about who's in charge of the Strait of Hormuz. CBN News Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl has our story. She's reporting from Jerusalem.
Israelis were shocked at the sudden death of Senator Lindsey Graham over the weekend. President Isaac Herzog hailed him as a true friend of Israel and personally a dear friend.
He maintained his steadfast and unwavering support for the people of Israel, especially at our most difficult and painful moments. Lindsey understood the profound importance of the U.S.-Israel partnership and tirelessly advocated for our shared values and shared interests.
Meanwhile, the U.S. and Iran continue to exchange attacks on Monday over control of the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. struck dozens of sites overnight, while Iran is retaliating by launching missiles and drones against Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, and Qatar. CENTCOM said it struck 140 military targets over the weekend after Iran blatantly attacked a Cyprus-flagged container ship. At a ceremony marking 50 years since his brother Yoni was killed, leading an operation to rescue more than 100 hostages in Entebbe, Uganda, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel had averted an existential threat in the fight against Iran.
We are systematically crushing the Iranian axis of evil and terror, which sought to advance the plan to destroy Israel by means of a noose of terror it had tightened around us.
The ongoing conflict over the strait is throwing the peace negotiations in doubt. The Wall Street Journal reports some senior administration officials said a nuclear deal looks more and more unlikely.
Going to continue our coverage now with Julie joining us from Israel. Julie, if a nuclear deal with Iran looks more and more unlikely, what does that mean for the possibility of more warfare with Iran? And could Israel eventually get involved?
Well, Ephraim, President Trump has been clear that there will not be a nuclear Iran, and for good reason. If you see what they do without a nuclear weapon, imagine what they could do with a nuclear weapon. So it's possible that full-scale war would resume. They still theoretically have, I think, at least a month left in this 60-day kind of trial period, but they haven't done what they were supposed to do. The Iranians, the only thing they were assigned to do was to keep the Straits of Hormuz open, and they haven't done it. So, as of last week, there were rumors that the U.S. had asked Israel not to get involved, but the Israeli ambassador to the U.S., Dr. Yechiel Leiter, he said in an interview, we're a partner, we're an ally. If the United States calls on us to rejoin kinetic activity against Iran, we're going to be there for the United States. So I think Israel is ready and waiting for the sign or for the, encouragement from the U.S.
Iran has attacked Israel in the past. Any idea why Iran isn't launching strikes against Israel at this moment?
I don't know for sure. My guess is that they don't really want to fight a second well-armed enemy. They've been striking U.S. bases and concerns in Jordan, Oman, Kuwait, Qatar, and Israel says they're prepared and they'll strike back. But, if they hit Israel, they're not hitting a U.S. base in a foreign country. They're hitting another country, so they would be drawing another enemy into the fire.
The focus has been on Iran, but what's been going on in Hamas with Israel doing, with Hamas, and what is Israel doing in Gaza?
So it's not quiet. Last week, Hamas said, according to their memorandum of understanding, the Board of Peace had said they have to step down from governing the Gaza Strip, and they said, okay, we're doing that, but they have not given up their military aspirations. Israel has continued to take out terrorists when they pose a threat to the troops, and, there were 2 strikes in Gaza. Israel eliminated the commander of a weapons production headquarters. He commanded a rocket launcher production workshop. So they're clearly planning to fight. So it's not quiet there.
Let's talk about domestic politics in Israel. The Knesset has finally set a date for elections. What are people there expecting?
Well, the date has been set for October 27th. It's a little more than 3 weeks after the end of the Jewish holidays at the beginning of October and after the 3rd anniversary of October 7th. It's the first time since 1988 that the government has actually served its full term, so which is a little surprising. Anyway, but the current Knesset dissolves by the end of the week. There's 14 parties competing for 120 seats in the Knesset. It's not like elections in the U.S., for sure. One poll shows that Netanyahu's Likud party is neck and neck with Gadi Eisenkot's Yashar party. And another poll shows that Netanyahu has a clear lead. So it's a little wild. I don't think anyone exactly knows what's going to happen. Netanyahu is, of course, under a lot of fire. The government is under fire. They blame them for the October 7th war and everything that's happened since then. So we'll wait and see what happens.
The wait and see. Okay. All right, good stuff.
The rule of the Middle East, wait and see.
Wait and see. Yeah, as the president says, we'll see what happens. So I think that needs to be a little bit of a flash on the screen. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
All right, good morning to you. Let's see what happens with the weather.
Here's a look at your Monday weather from Grange Killop. Across northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny skies with afternoon highs in the upper 80s in Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville, while Wilsonville tops out near 90. Through the Willamette Valley, sunny conditions continue in Salem and Albany near 88. Corvallis climbs to 87 and Eugene finishes near 88 before returning to the 50s overnight. Mostly sunny in central Oregon and 94 in Pineville. Bend tops out near 90 and Sun River hits 89. Boise turns much hotter with patchy smoke, followed by mostly sunny skies and a high of 100. Along the Oregon coast, mostly sunny skies and 68 in Coos Bay and 66 in Port Orford. Brookings sees decreasing clouds with a high of 57, while Crescent City starts with patchy fog before turning partly sunny and 62. In southern Oregon, hot conditions continue with 96 in Grants Pass and 97 in Medford. Ashland stays mostly sunny with a high of 93, while Klamath Falls was partly sunny and reaches 88. Across Northern California, increasing clouds in Wairika and 95. Redding reaches 100 and Chico 98 with a chance of rain before hot, partly sunny skies. In Fort Bragg, slight chance of thunderstorms and a high near 61. Around the Bay Area, Santa Rosa reaches 91 with decreasing clouds. Napa gradually clears near 90. Over in San Francisco, partly sunny with a high of 77. And San Jose sees decreasing clouds with a high of 90. For Central California, Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto reach 96 with a slight chance of rain before a hot afternoon. Fresno, Visalia, and Bakersfield stay hot with highs of 104. That's a look at today's weather from Grange Co-op.
Hi, good morning to you. 21 minutes before the hour on this Back at It Monday morning. Steve Johnson, it's the Southern Command. We're up here watching the fire. By the way, Steve, who do you think...
Sir.
Was there screaming teenage girls before the Beatles?
Yes, there were. Through history.
Yes.
You should have seen what they did when they saw Mozart. And Beethoven. Whoa! And Handel, it was like, whoa!
Okay, well, let's move it up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Okay, here's this greatest career of entertainment history began on this day in history.
On July 13th, 1939, a young singer named Frank Sinatra recorded his very first commercial record, From the Bottom of My Heart, backed by the Harry James Orchestra. Few could have imagined it was the beginning of one of the greatest careers in entertainment history. By the 1940s, Old Blue Eyes had become America's first true teen idol, drawing screaming crowds decades before the Beatles or modern rock stars. His unforgettable hits included My Way, New York, New York, and dozens of timeless classics. Though his life included well-publicized highs and lows, Sinatra became known in later years for his generosity, quietly giving millions to charities and those in need. After the death of his mother, he also experienced a renewed commitment to his Catholic faith. And fittingly, when Sinatra passed away in 1998, the words engraved on his headstone weren't My Way, but the title of another beloved song, The Best Is Yet to Come.
That's pretty amazing. You know, the favorite album I have of his is one that isn't that popular. It was with the Nelson Riddle Orchestra, and it was called In the Wee Small Hours. And it's more mellow and all, and it was, you know, it had that kind of little jazz groove, you know. It was really quite well done. But he was also a very good actor. If you ever want to see a good movie with him, and Angela Lansbury was in it, it is the first Manchurian Candidate. They did a remake of it with Denzel Washington, I think, which was pretty good. But the first one is pretty amazing, and it showed that he could do quite a few different things, more than just singing.
Was he part of the Rat Pack?
Oh, he was. Yeah, he was the big lead off of that with Dean Martin and Joey Bishop and I can't remember his name now. Sorry, President Kennedy's step, like a cousin. Oh, yeah. Well, it'll come to me.
Yeah.
But I don't need to actually know it any longer. But yes, he was the big guy, and Sammy Davis Jr. too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was part of all of that.
The Rat Pack.
The Rat Pack, yeah, Las Vegas. Also, let me just add a couple other historical things, if I can. 1772 is the year Captain Cook decided to go find Australia.
Oh.
And I think he did. He was successful that way. And it was on this date, 1930, that Babe Ruth hit his 700th home run. So 1930 was a good year for him, not so much for the United States, because really we're in the deep depression at that point. But I think people like to go see Babe. That was kind of get their mind off of what was going on elsewhere. So that was a pretty big thing. Lindsey Graham, interesting guy. You know, we've been having kind of a tribute to him and everything. And this is an interesting comment he made. This was just before he left Ukraine on this latest trip. It was just hours later he would be found dead as a result of a aorta that had a torn aorta, which is kind of an unusual thing. And he made some comments before leaving about how he thinks the war with Ukraine and Russia could be resolved.
The road to ending this war, the road to peace, passes through Beijing more than it does Washington, Kyiv, or Moscow. China has an oversized influence. I'd like them to use their influence for the good of the world. I don't believe Putin is there yet, but it wouldn't take much to get him there. And the sooner we can have a dialogue about peace, the quicker this war is over. I've never been more optimistic than I am today that we have the formula to end this war. Help Ukraine be more lethal. Let those supporting Russia to know it's going to be a price to be paid if you keep doing it. And to try to find an off-ramp, not to humiliate Putin, but to end this war so that Ukraine will thrive and survive.
Whether we can forward that and kind of expound about how China would be a part of all of this, I don't know. We'll have to see how that works out. Interesting.
It's really interesting. I think what he's pointing out there is that Beijing is the main supplier to Russia in this war. Yeah. And Russia is proven that its ground military force is really a paper tiger. I think we're all shocked that they couldn't pull this off with completion sooner.
Well, and hundreds of Russian soldiers dying every day. The numbers are staggering. I don't know how long Russian mothers can accept to see this go on and on and on, year after year.
It's just staggering. The whole thing is just with all of the might that we thought Russia had, that this thing would have been long done away with. But he makes the comment there that Ukraine stays lethal. That's a big deal. I mean, that's a big statement.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, let's just assume for a moment the peace plan, whatever he has on the table, whatever he came up with, brings about a ceasefire and a genuine peace agreement.
Okay.
At the end of the day, Russia loses.
Can they somehow lose gracefully so Putin would be able to say, okay, it is over and we can stop the conflict? Because he is a person who holds a grudge. There's no doubt about that.
Well, the only thing I could possibly think of is two things. One is there's got to maybe be some real estate involved. And secondly is the Orthodox Church in Russia. It's very complex, but the original Orthodox Church in Russia is founded in Ukraine, and there's two Orthodox churches fighting in Ukraine, and the Russian part of that equation is one of the motives behind all of this. So I don't know if there's an agreement there, because you would end up having two patriarchs, which would be in conflict, and you have real estate involved. Would there be given some or giving some back? I don't know. So. Yeah. And then you have China supplying Russia with what it needs to fight. So you kind of go, wow, what a mixed deal. And then in the middle of all of this is oil going to Europe. What do you do with that?
Yes. No, you're absolutely right. There are a lot of factors involved there. Yeah.
Okay. With that in mind, today is Beans and Franks Day.
It is. And by the way, I remembered it was Peter Lawford who was the other member of the Rat Pack with Frank Sinatra.
Okay, you know
Peter
what?
Lawford.
Hold on. Hold on.
Related to John F. Kennedy.
Hold on.
You're looking something up with your little computer.
One of our faithful just texted me, Peter Lawford.
Peter Lawford, that's who it was. Thank you.
Thank you, John. All right, we'll be right back.
Thanks.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa. a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon. Jerry's Historical Archives. U.S. History. Great moments in time. Record breakers. Our music through the years. Relive the past and learn something new. Open up Jerry's Historical Archives. Weekdays only on Mornings on the Dove.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. Oh, shine.
Welcome back. Stephen Perry with you on this Back at It Monday morning. We have an eye on the backyard here, right outside our door. We can see the East Evan Creek's fire. It's, by the way, it's a little over 3,100 acres, 5% contained. 1,000 personnel on the scene there, and we have numerous aircraft. They're out here on the tarmac, 3 over here at the actual tanker base and 2 out here on the tarmac. Standing by, certain conditions for them to fly when they take on a heavy load, humidity, and all of those things, heat. So, and a bunch of helicopters. They got a lot of assets on this fire, and yet it's still very dangerous. And there's still a lot of stage 1, 2, and 3 evacuation notices. So if you're in that area, I'm sure you're aware of all that right now. The other day I had Jonathan Tobin back with us. He's the chief editor and contributor to the Jerusalem News Syndicate. It's kind of like the go-to place to find out what's happening in the Middle East. And I asked him, is it possible that President Trump is dragging out all of this with Iran to show the world that he has exhausted every diplomatic means possible before going in and finishing the job? And here's what he had to say.
It's a possibility, and I hope it's true. I'm not confident that it's true because I think in order to do the job, it will require a much, more patience and more willingness to sort of pay the price of winning this war than the Trump administration has shown so far. And they've done a lot of great things. They continue to do a lot of great things. They're much better than the alternative would be. Imagine a Kamala Harris administration faced with this problem. Mm-hmm. But I'm not convinced that even after the midterms and even after this, that, and he's exhausted all these things, I've seen this before with diplomacy, whether the United States or Israel is doing it, and they make all these concessions, and then they say, well, we're proving that we really want peace. Nobody cares whether America's critics don't care that our intentions are good and that we've exhausted all the possibilities. They only care whether we're doing what we need to do or not. Yeah. And I'm kind of frustrated with this kind of thinking. If President Trump is going to do the right thing on Iran, he's just got to do it. And just putting it off until some later date will just make it harder. If you're going to, if you're going to give up, if you're going to surrender to Iran, surrender to Iran. I often say this. It's like people believe what they want to believe. They want to believe in President Trump, and I want to support him too. And when he disappoints them, they still want to sort of engage in magical thinking and say, well, it's not really a disappointment because he's going to, turn on his head and do backflips and everything will be okay. And my answer to that is, if you think it's my job to tell you that the quarter that you found under your pillow was put there by the tooth fairy, you've come to the wrong shop. That's not my job to tell you that. Maybe it'll turn out to be true. Maybe Trump will ultimately do the right thing. I hope he does.
Yeah.
But this, kind of this thinking that what don't believe your lying eyes and ears, it's going to all be okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not in that business.
A little bit of a Senator Kennedy line there with the quarter.
Yeah, good point.
A quarter under your pillow there, put there by the tooth fairy. That's something Senator. Well, I think he makes a strong argument. I really do. I mean, what are we going to do with this? Hey, coming up in a little bit, Tom Del Carlbach brothers will be talking about, obviously, the passing of Senator Lindsey Graham, where that leads. And David Rubin will be with us, live from Israel. Always good to have him in. So we have a lot to talk about.
A few years ago, I had to think back on this. We had a concern about bees because they seemed to be dying. And it's like, how's this going to affect our agriculture? Well, Jerry's got a very good news update for us on the bee front.
Scientists at Oregon State University say they've found no documented pesticide-related bee deaths since 2021, a remarkable turnaround after a major bee die-off more than a decade ago. The change didn't happen by accident. Thousands of landscapers, farmers, and gardeners were trained on how to protect pollinators, while communities across the state learned how to create bee-friendly habitats. Oregon is also home to more than 560 species of bees, making it one of the nation's most diverse pollinator habitats. Researchers say the success proves that when people are given the right information, they really can make a difference, one flower and one bee at a time.
Don't swat them, hug them. Of course, you got to know the difference between a honeybee and a wasp.
Oh, it's easy to tell those two, yeah.
Yeah, and...
you hug them? Okay, I'll take option 3. Let them be.
Let them be.
See what I did with that? Let them
let them be.
Yeah.
Do you like honey?
I do. And you know what? I went down to the Ashland Honey Fair that they had a few years ago. I couldn't believe how many different kinds of honey there are based on where the bees pollinate.
Exactly right. Now, you can taste the difference in coffee. I can't. But I can taste the difference in honey.
Yeah,
because
really?
that was my first 4-H project. And you can have alfalfa.
Yeah.
You can have, like if they're pollinating like a pear orchard,
Daisies.
Daisy, flowers.
Wildflowers.
Lavender,
Lavender, that's true, yeah.
So anyway, all right, take with you out of the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verses 12 and 13. Jesus said, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friend." Are you willing to do that today? Invest in somebody else today. Your day will go a whole lot better. Pray for our fire crews up there. We'll be right back.
Praise you, and I will seek you in the morning, and I will learn to walk in your ways. Every step by step you lead me, and I will follow you all of my days.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Real Life with Jack Hibbs, now on the Dove TV every weekend. Deepen your walk with Christ and make an effective impact on your world. Don't miss Real Life with Jack Hibbs, Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on the Dove TV.
The Salvation Army fleet of vehicles is critical to providing essential services in our community, from picking up food for our food pantry to taking kids to camp and youth programming. We rely on Kelly's Automotive to keep us on the road so we can continue to provide the needs of our community 365 days a year. We can't do that without our fleet of vehicles in Kelly's Automotive.
Millions are struggling with life and their walk with God. Transformed is a groundbreaking series seen right here on theDove TV that every week takes you behind closed doors to witness biblical counseling with real people facing real issues.
It was common to me to feel like I just wanted to escape.
It could be anxiety, depression, addictions, or other concerns. No issue is taken off the table.
To just get the pain out of my head and out of my heart.
The Bible has answers to life's problems. God's wisdom is better than man's. Lives are changed because God's hope is offered, not just treating the symptoms.
It's through the eyes of faith. Trusting what God says and being willing to obey what God says, even if it's not what you immediately feel.
Join Dr. Greg Gifford and see lives transformed from brokenness to wholeness. Mondays at 8:30 and Thursdays at 5, only on theDove TV.
Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him there's no other, 'cause Jesus is the way. Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him there's no other, 'cause Jesus is the way. Sing along.
You're watching theDove TV, encouraging and informative for Chico and the North State. Seen on KKRM 11, Channel 21, and these Dove TV affiliates.
Well, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and of course, it's been quite the shocking weekend with the passing of Senator Lindsey Graham, and then, of course, all the things going on in the Middle East, and then what happens back with replacing such a powerful person in the U.S. Senate. There's a lot to discuss, and I'm always honored, and it's always very timely when we have with us Tom Del Beccaro. He's the author of a fascinating book, which I think is just really a textbook you should have close by. It's called The Lessons of the American Civilization. He's also the host of Politics in Perspective with Tom Del Beccaro. He's the former chairman of the California Republican Party, the author of two historical perspectives, The Divided Era and The New Conservative Paradigm. He's a columnist for Fox News, Fox Business, and Epoch Times, and the publisher of what they call the politicalvanguard.com. That's a website, politicalvanguard.com. And Tom has his own website, tomdell.com, and you can go there. There's a picture of that landing page as well. Brother Tom, good to see you, friend.
Great to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's always a joy. Always a joy. So your thoughts this morning with the sudden passing of Senator Graham?
You know, there's a lot to say about Lindsey Graham. There was few people more passionate in their love for this country than Lindsey Graham. President Trump said something interesting about him, which was very true. He was always working. There was always something, some issue, some initiative he wanted to push forward and make better. And he was not a grandstander. There are politicians, there are many demagogues and grandstanders. Ro Khanna is a big one. Lindsey Graham was the opposite. He had a lot to say, but he also always had his gloves on and was willing to do the work to move something forward, not just inflate himself. When I met him and I was running against Kamala Harris in 2016, we were in an event and immigration came up, and he was incredibly passionate. And he engaged with me in an incredibly passionate way. And that's the way I'll always remember it. Hardworking, loved this country, 33 years in the Air Force, then in politics. And I don't really know how they replace someone like this on a very important issue, because he would say things other Republicans were too gutless to say. And he would stand up when that needed to happen. And I don't know who fills that role.
Before we could do much further into that part of the subject, there is an awakening here for all of us. We don't know when. And are we ready? you have a thought on that?
Got it. You don't know how, I don't know quite know how to be ready. But I was reading a quote from Dante earlier this morning about essentially how important it is for us to make a difference. And you had that quote earlier. Make it not necessarily make a difference becoming a senator, but making a difference in people's lives. One day at a time, you make a difference, help someone, that kind of thing. So yeah, you never know when you're going to get a promotion. Now I'm an attorney in politics, so if the theory is the good die young, I got a whiles to go. But we can't be sure. And so you do have to live, you know, the life of making a difference in people's lives. I think that's just my view.
Okay. Both the House and the Senate margins are very thin, and with the loss of Senator Graham at a crucial time, just literally weeks away from a primary election in this, or midterm election, I should say, in this country. The senator did win his current primary. Now that's vacant. First of all, do you know kind of how it works in South Carolina? I know how it would work up here, but I don't know if it's
Yeah,
the same
so South
there.
Carolina is it's interesting. There will be a temporary appointment. There will be a new primary in August, and then there'll be the general election in November. I'm sure a lot of people will get in on the Republican side. I don't want to, if you forgive me, get into who's good and bad or who should and shouldn't be. I would rather talk about, we need people that will appeal to the younger generation. That's why I like Tim Scott so much. He's a Reagan type happy warrior. I think this is a good opportunity for Republicans to reach beyond the normal set and start talking to the younger generation, because Republicans can't simply say, oh, they want socialism, they're crazy. We are educating our children or not educating them. And Republicans need to step forward and do a better job talking about what America, socialism, capitalism, faith, all of these things, so to create a better future.
Tim Scott, Senator Scott, did mention a couple of names, and one was as a temporary custodian of the seat. Now, before I mention that name, let me back up and say, isn't it normal, or wouldn't it be wise, I guess, that whoever becomes the custodian of the seat up until the new primary could very well possibly be the candidate to go into the primary, which creates in itself an incumbency? Do you think that's part of the thinking?
Yeah, and therefore the opposing thought would be, okay, pick someone who says right from the outset, I'm not going to run, I just need to be there for a short period of time. And that may be the way to go. You had a gubernatorial election where numerous people fell short, and they've expressed an interest, including I think Ace. So it's just a question of how they want to do this, how the governor wants to handle this sort of thing. And I'm not an expert on South Carolina politics, but there's two schools of thought, as you mentioned.
Does presidential influence have something to do with this process?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure Trump's on the phone saying, Tim Scott, and who's going to be there with us? Because this failure to pass the SAVE Act is no minor failure of leadership in the Senate. You need people willing to take risks. And there's not enough days left, I'll just be honest, to pass the SAVE Act at this point. unless they started it today. And they're not going to do that. And so they need people with a little more steel in their backbone.
Two names that have been floated is DeMint and Gowdy. What do you think?
I understand Gowdy. He's younger. By the way, one of those 537 B whatever is circling me here, so that's why I'm a little distracted.
If it's a honeybee, hug it. If it's a honeybee, hug it. If it's a wasp, swat it.
I'm just going to ignore it for now.
Okay.
That'll work, unlike the bison exercise we saw the other day. Trey Gowdy is very articulate, so I could see that fit as well. And we need someone willing to explain things to people at the senatorial level.
Graham leaves behind an incredible momentum to get the Save America Act through. What happens now when you've got a weak Thune leading the cause?
So the mistake I think Thune is making is he's saying, well, I'm not going to start this unless we're guaranteed the vote, which happens often. Sometimes the process of exposing people and the Democrats on their duplicity related to this creates momentum that didn't exist when you started it. He hasn't been willing to start it. And so I have to conclude that it's not going to happen this time around, which is a big problem because this is the Democrats' last chance in certain respects. If they won the House this time, they could make a difference in elections going forward because we're going to have this redistricting. And the redistricting process will, but without racial at the center of it, could give Republicans a jump of 10 to 20 seats over the next 3 cycles. So it's kind of a big moment. And I think that Republicans let it pass, like Mitch McConnell and like Thune and others. So this is a big problem.
Does Thune survive then?
Well, I think it really depends on November.
Oh.
If somehow they lose the Senate, certainly not. If it gets really tight, I don't know. There will be calls for new leadership.
Yeah. Senator Graham is also returning from Ukraine, pretty motivated and excited that he felt like there was the elements of a peace deal on the table. The earlier clip that we played of him, maybe we can play that for you before you go here, but there was a clip earlier about him talking about that.
I'm familiar with it.
You are? Okay. So what do you think?
There is, on the ground, the war has turned against Russia. Not overwhelmingly, but Russia has issues. Ukraine's now quit.
Okay, we're losing your audio. Okay, we're losing his audio. Let me take a quick break here. We'll reconnect with him. A couple of things you can do is go to his website, TomDale.com is his website. There's a picture of that landing page, and also his book. Really is. It's not that big, but it's kind of a subtle reminder of who we are as Americans and who we are as a civilization. It's called The Lessons of the American Civilization. You could probably read it in one evening, but I think it's a book you'll end up writing in the margins. You may want to check that out. We'll reconnect with Tom. We'll be right back.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Leiser with Leiser Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
What if the school you chose shaped who your child becomes forever?
At Rogue Valley Adventist Academy, every lesson begins with purpose. We are a pre-K through 12th grade private school built on one mission: to educate, mold, and inspire service through a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, where students find their voice through music. Build tomorrow's solutions in our makerspace. Compete with heart and integrity on the court, and prepare for real life every single day. Our VAA is a safe, student-centered community where every child is known by name, not just a number. From pre-K through 12th grade, your child will be challenged, supported, and loved. Enroll now. Openings are limited. Visit rvaa.us or call 541-773-2988. Rogue Valley Adventist Academy, located in Medford. Join in and stand out.
Pastor Jack Hibbs, championing religious liberty, a deep love of God, freedom, and America. You may have seen him in the news during COVID as he pushed back against government-mandated church closures. Now you can see him on theDove TV every weekend on Real Life with Jack Hibbs. Learn, grow in your faith, and impact the world with authentic biblical teaching. Watch Real Life with Jack Hibbs Sundays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on theDove TV.
All right, welcome back, and always honored to have with us Tom Dell. Bacarl's back with us, and we've got a lot to talk about. By the way, you need to get a copy of his book called The Lessons of the American Civilization. Picture on the screen there. You can get that online, and then check out his website, tomdell.com. Sorry about that, Tom. We were talking about Senator Graham's influence on Ukraine and what's happening with Ukraine. As he landed on the ground there, before he met with Zelensky, he had quite the comment about the elements of a peace deal, and you were explaining, so go ahead.
Yeah, I think that on the ground things have changed. Russia's not doing as well, and so that creates a different dynamic. He's bogged down after years and years of fighting, and Ukraine is hitting deep into Russia. Now, whether he can save face and make a deal is a whole different issue, but certainly the dynamic is different. But I don't know who replaces Lindsey Graham in pushing that ball along.
If there is, just hypothetical, I realize, but if there is the elements of a peace deal and it comes together, in the end, wouldn't that be a loss for Russia?
Yes, and that's the face-saving point I brought up. He would have to come. He has to come away with this with land, or it's a complete and total loss. And of course, Zelensky has previously said that will never happen, but that could be posturing. But you're right.
What about the religious component of that world? The motivation of restoring the original Orthodox Church inside Russia to be a part of Russia versus the other Orthodox Church that's in Russia, so there's a divide there. How much of this war is motivated by that, do you know?
Well, I think at the core of this, Putin did not like what the breaking apart of the Soviet Union. And it was remember, when he started in Soviet government, he saw this before his eyes. And I think that's the main motivating factor. Remember, in Russian history, you are Ivan the Terrible or Peter the Great. Ivan the Terrible sounds like a scary man, but really what he was a failed. He gets called the Terrible because he failed in history in the eyes of the Soviets or the Russians. Peter the Great, Catherine the Great, they succeeded at something. And Putin envisioned himself as Vladimir the Great and restoring the empire. And I think that at the core of it is what's most important, which makes him potentially Vladimir the Terrible, and that's what's so hard for him.
Senator Graham said in his comments that most of the negotiations hinge upon Beijing's involvement. And if you get Beijing neutralized, then is there possibility of a peace deal?
I think the thought there being that if Russia has to stand on its own, it can't. And that's probably true. But that doesn't change the notion that you have to have some sort of off-ramp that makes this acceptable to Russia. And the American press goes nuts whenever Trump says, well, we should somehow welcome Russia back to the world or something in that vein. And that's what he's trying to do, is create an off-ramp to end the killing. So once again, the media is the sworn enemy of good foreign policy. And so these are some of the difficulties.
All right, I want to set your attention to something you've been talking about and arguing about, and that is this thing called the Democratic Socialist of America, no longer a fringe of the party. It looks like it's become the core of the party, and I don't think we're seeing anything more apparent than what's happening in some of these blue states. Do you think America, Tom, really understands the threat of this?
No. One of my lines in life is that history is a vast library with very few card holders. If you look at the platform of the Socialist Party from the early 1900s, it's almost entirely enacted, which is cradle-to-grave government programs. And the reason why they want to do that is to make people inure to the government, to look to the government as the provider. And the current Democrat Party believes that. I did a piece in Town Hall, which people can look up. And you look at all the major things the DSA before this week were saying: Green New Deal, trans rights, tax the rich, open borders, defund the police. These are all central tenets of the DSA over the last 2 years, but those are actual policies of the Democrats. Now, the DSA is headstrong in its success, and it's reaching out farther with these crazy ideas: remove the president, remove the Senate, which I think is a tactical error, by the way, that they are making. They could drag the Democrats even farther left, but if they do say crazy things like this, it makes it easier for the Democrats to walk away.
All right. A little bit in that vein, the president lately has been speaking out very forcefully that the rise of socialism in this country needs to be put down. In the middle of that, Israel unveils a plot by Iran to assassinate the president. He flies over to Turkey in the new Air Force One. He gets the threat while he's on the ground at NATO, and he comes home in the old Air Force One. And today happens to be the second anniversary date of the attempt of the president's life in Butler. And now you have the passing of Graham. Now let me see if I can tie all this together. If you can intimidate the president where he can't publicly speak because of fear of assassination, and especially not talking out about the rise against socialism in this country, where does that leave us?
Well, I don't think Trump is bowed in any regard. I know Scott Bessent, I talked to him last week, he's not bowed in any regard. So I think actually Trump will rise to this occasion. He's calling some of this for what it is, communism, and it's godless. So I think he's the right thing there. Look, Iran says the things that it says for the benefit of its internal attempt to hold on to power.
Right.
Which is a very old tactic. By the way, on my podcast, Politics in Perspective, I had an Iranian refugee who said that the people you saw marching there were imported from were Islamists imported from outside of Iran. I don't know if you've seen that reporting. That is how tenuous their hold is. So they're going to say anything on earth. They claimed they killed Lindsey Graham. Well, an aortic dissection, if they have some weapon that causes that, we should really know about that. Right. But everything that they say is pro forma and almost always a lie.
I understand that. What I was, yes, what I was trying to say is that they use the power of intimidation. In some ways, it works. It's worked in previous in administrations. The president doesn't seem to be moved by it. He doesn't seem to be deterred by it. The question is, will he continue to do rallies between now and November, publicly? I don't know. And I was reading another article over the weekend. These threats, I feel so sorry for his family. His family cannot move anywhere now because of this. They're almost living behind doors because of these threats. You have to take them seriously.
Perry, a part of my book is dedicated to the divided era, the violence that occurred. The phrase blood sport came about in the late 1800s related to the assassinations of presidents and attempts. I don't like really to talk about it because in this day and age it becomes it's okay to do that sort of thing. This is what intense division causes. Socialism in history, it is associated with violence. The end of the Roman Republic was associated with the assassination of leaders. The end of Greek democracy, when the left then was far socialist, taxing the riches into the public coffers, was associated with violence. The left in history and socialism, there's a lot of violence associated with that. And we need to be more than mindful.
One last question, Tom. Is the DSA now the agenda of the Democratic Party?
No, I think they made this tactical error. They went too far, so it's going to be easy. But they are the energy within the cities, and the cities is the base of the Democrats. And the Democrats have no other story to tell. So this could hurt the Democrats in the midterms when it looked like they had some clearer sailing. But if the DSA reached too far and the Republicans put out a alternative, they're going to have this convention, they're going to have a mini platform. If they tell an opposite story, then I think the DSA, is not going to go away, but it may not be in control.
Okay. Wow. I guess the last question is, how are you praying for America?
You mean other than constantly?
Well, what's the core of that constantly?
Perry, I've seen these people in history that say, well, God can't be good because he allows all these problems. And then I think to myself, so we're supposed to be heaven on earth and there to be no challenges? And then how do you decide where you draw the line? Should there be no cancer in children? Or I mean, what limited amount of problems could God afford, and then you would be satisfied? Anyway, you get my point.
Yeah.
I know in history that mankind rises to the occasion. And so the historian in me and the person who says the Hail Mary at night, I concentrate on those things.
Okay. Good to see you, Tom. Thank you for your time. And,
all right.
And thanks for your work. Stay in it. Thanks for your podcast. Let me show our viewers and listeners check out Tom's website, tomdale.com, and then the book. Really, it's It's a textbook, it really is. It won't take you long to read it, but it certainly will put into perspective what the battle's all about. It's called The Lessons of the American Civilization. Thank you, brother. Good to see you.
All right, take care.
Being in business is challenging. At Network in Action Southern Oregon, we're all about real connection and real growth. We value your time with once-a-month meetings and believe in transformational relationships rather than transactional ones. We have 3 groups in the Valley, a Christian group, a Medford group, and a Grants Pass group, all filled with amazing local professionals. Network in Action Southern Oregon, so much more than just networking. Find out more at sonetworking.com.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare. Your loved one can spend the day with us, and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
We love staying connected with you, our amazing Dove partners. That's why we created the Studio Insider, your complimentary magazine packed with everything happening at the Dove. See how your support is changing lives, check out our TV and radio schedules, meet our team in the staff spotlight, enjoy faith-filled reflections, a fun crossword puzzle, and so much more. It's your inside look at the Dove.
Okay, welcome back. And it's been quite a while since we had time to sit down with our good friend David Rubin, former mayor of Shiloh, Israel, author of several books, including one that's really very timely, entitled Confronting Radicals, What America Can Learn from Israel, as well as Trump and the Jews. He is the founder and the president of the Shiloh Israel Children's Fund. And this is a remarkable organization helping children from the trauma of war, and especially lately he's been very, very busy. A couple of websites. You can go to davidrubinisrael.com. That's one of the websites, and of course the other one is israelchildren.org, where you can go and support what he does there, and it's remarkable. I don't think we realize that some children go to bed at night and then they're woken up to go to a bomb shelter. That's a reality over there. So help them with that, israelchildren.org. Dave, it's been a long time. How are you, friend?
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you, Perry.
Yeah, good to see you. Hey, a lot to talk about, but there was something that came out here a little while ago. It looks like the president is backing away of putting pressure on Israel for backing away from Lebanon, basically saying to Israel and Lebanon, create your own deal to deal with Hezbollah. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, we're going to see what happens. I think the thing that we've learned about President Trump is that we don't judge President Trump, and certainly not on one-day statements. And you know, right now we're in a very precarious situation, because it's clear that the memorandum of understanding is falling apart. It's also clear that the hostilities have continued, have started to pick up again. It's clear that the Iranians are not willing to give up their control of the Strait of Hormuz. And that, for President Trump, that's a non-starter.
Where is Israel in that?
Well, Israel has its opinions. The The situation is that President Trump is saying that that Israel can go ahead in controlling southern Lebanon, as it already is, can defend its interests. That Israel has a right to defend itself, as they say. But at the same time, he doesn't want Israel to be taking offensive action that might blow up the negotiations with Iran, even though they say there are no negotiations right now. So there are a lot of question marks. But Israel's opinion on it is very clear. Israel's opinion on what needs to be done now and how to approach Iran, how to approach Lebanon, how to approach Syria. All of this is very clear. And it's being conveyed privately to President Trump.
Okay. I want to go down that road a little bit. First of all, are you surprised that the MOU didn't go anywhere?
No.
Okay. And what was the president's thinking from your perspective that somehow Syria could come in and be a negotiator with the problem in Lebanon?
What is Syria? Syria was a country that was run by Bashar Assad, who was a Shiite dictator who was aligned with Iran. And Iran has been giving very strong support simultaneously to the Hezbollah terrorist organization, which is also a Shiite Muslim terrorist organization in Lebanon, which it created and which it has always funded heavily. So now to say, well, bring in the Sunni Muslim Brotherhood radical to go into Lebanon and take care of Hezbollah on Israel's behalf. I mean, it's absurd. It's not something that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's not something that the dictator of Syria wants to happen. He has no intention of going in there and fighting against Hezbollah. The only party that is going to stop the threat from Hezbollah is Israel. And in order to do that, though, Israel has to be able to do it without its American ally telling it, no, don't do anything, just stand there and wait to be sitting ducks in Lebanon. That's a big mistake. Okay, 200 Marines were killed by Hezbollah, by Iranian proxies in a similar situation where they were just there. They weren't allowed to take offensive action. They were just kind of standing there, and they were killed. They were slaughtered. They were massacred. So we have to understand who we're dealing with. We're dealing with an Iranian regime that has been damaged through the war, but because the war is not being fought continuously in an ongoing way, so they are regrouping and they're trying to rearm and refuel and do everything that they have to do to build up their strength again, including their nuclear program, by the way.
So does Lebanon have the fortitude to join Israel to fight Hezbollah?
I don't know if they have the fortitude. They definitely don't have the ability. There's a problem with Lebanon, with the Lebanese government, and the problem should be very clear. The Lebanese government is a combination of Sunni and Shiite Muslims. Many of the members of the Lebanese government are aligned either publicly or quietly with Hezbollah, which means that they are aligned with Iran. So to ask the Lebanese government to take action against the Hezbollah terrorists, it doesn't make sense. It's just, it sounds good. The President Trump likes the sound of it, and a lot of other world leaders in the Western world like the sound of it, but it's just not realistic. People who live in the Middle East, especially Israelis, understand the situation. We understand the Middle East.
Yeah.
We know we're in a very, very bad neighborhood. We know that we understand the mentality in the Muslim world, and we understand that Syria, which is also an Israel-hating country, is not going to take action against Hezbollah while Hezbollah is attacking Israel. They're not going to side with Israel against Hezbollah.
Makes total sense. In the recent strikes in the last couple of days, has Israel been involved in those, or has that been primarily the United States?
The attacks on Iran?
Yes.
Yes, it's been just the United States. Israel has not been involved at all. President Trump has requested that we not get involved at this point. And being a good partner, we're adhering to his request and letting him do it alone.
A couple of days ago, Israel reportedly warned the United States about a new Iranian plot to assassinate the president. It made news over here. Can you fill us in? How legitimate was this?
Well, if the Israeli intelligence has discovered it, then it's legitimate, then it's real. Israel has the best intelligence services in the world, and President Trump and his intelligence people definitely took note. They're not talking about it publicly, but it's very clear that the Iranians have been out to assassinate the president and Israel's prime minister, of course, and defense minister for many, many years, but especially in the past year.
This threat came, or the warning of the threat from Israel to the United States came while the president was in Turkey attending NATO summit hearings. He goes over in the new Air Force One and he comes home on the old one. Does that say anything to you?
It sure does. It says, do not trust Qatar. Okay, the country, for those of your viewers who don't know, the country Qatar is a small country in the Middle East, near the Persian Gulf, near Iran. They're a Sunni Muslim country run by a royal family, and with a very, very, very small population. In fact, the population is only of the size that it is, which is not a lot, because of all the foreign workers that they have there, because the royal family doesn't do any work. They just kind of collect the money from their gas revenues. So Qatar has been very active in the Western world, and particularly in the United States, in funding American universities, specifically the Ivy League universities, which receive heavy, heavy funding from Qatar. Now, that funding isn't just out of the kindness of their hearts. That funding is to influence the students on the American campuses and to just teach them about the beauty of jihad, of the Quran and Islam, which calls for the mass slaughter of Jews and Christians, which calls for holy war against all of the Jews and Christians because they are friends with each other. That's a quote. So this is Qatar. And I think we should be very wary when Qatar says, here you go, President Trump, here is a plane, a new Air Force One for you, which we are supplying out of the goodness of our hearts. There is no goodness of our hearts when it comes to Qatar. Qatar is always trying to gain influence and sometimes with very, very deceptive ways.
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear on that. Let me take a quick break here and say to our viewers and listeners, check out David's, he has a couple of websites, davidrubinisrael.com, and certainly check out his ministry called israelchildren.org, which is the Israel Children's Fund, which he helps children dealing with trauma of war. It's very real there. Help them. Go to israelchildren.org. We'll be right back.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? When you want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life, call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
The world has a view, but God has the vision. That's what sets a Vision TV show apart, seen on the Dove TV.
Welcome to The Vision, where the world has a view, but God has the vision.
The Vision is an inspirational talk show that elevates voices of faith through powerful conversations, highlighting changemakers making a difference.
My group, we are a collective of elder rights activists from across the nation.
Each episode blends heartfelt storytelling with practical insight.
To get up every day and just say, Lord, thank you. I'm here. If you woke me up today, you must have a purpose for me, and I think that's the thing.
Encouraging viewers to live with clarity, compassion, and vision.
We're looking for good things because this is the day that the Lord has made.
Join Alveda King and a panel of friends. The world has a view, but God has the vision. Tuesdays at 1:30 and 8:30 p.m. right here on the Dove TV.
Welcome back, and always an honor. We have time to spend time together with David Rubin. We're Skyping him in from Israel today. He's a former mayor there of Shiloh, Israel, author of quite a few books, and his latest one is really a must-read, Confronting Radicals, What America Can Learn from Israel as well as Trump and the Jews. He's the president and the founder of the Shiloh Israel Children's Fund. We're going to talk to him about that in a minute. He has a couple of websites, davidrubinisrael.com, and then, of course, that for the Children's Fund, israelchildren.org. We'll talk about that. David, one more quick question before I leave the whole subject of Iran. It appears that in both the United States and Israel's goal as it relates to Iran is to de-nuke them. Is it possible?
Oh, of course it's possible. But they've already been attacked. Their nuclear facilities where they have been researching nuclear weaponry for about 30 years now were attacked in the 12-day war last year. And they have been recently attacked as well, even further. A lot of damage has been done. No, they were not obliterated, but they have been attacked. And they have been, their nuclear weapons program has been set back by some years. By the way, I just want to mention to you breaking news that President Trump has just announced that the United States military has taken full control again of the Strait of Hormuz and has reinstated the blockade of Iranian ships going out to sell their oil. That won't affect oil reaching the United States because the United States doesn't buy oil from Iran anyhow. But that will make it clear to Iran that there is somebody in charge here, and that is the United States.
Yeah.
As a messenger, by the way, of the Almighty God, because we know that He is the one that's really in control.
One more question on the nuclear issue there in Iran, and that is the enriched uranium. It's been suggested that maybe you just go ahead and take that nuclear dust and you kind of activate it. And that creates maybe a 50-mile zone that nobody goes in for the next 20 years. What do you think of that idea?
Well, I think it's a dangerous and risky idea, and I don't think it's necessary.
Okay,
Look, we don't want to kill Iranians who are against the regime in Iran, which is about 70 to 80% of Iranians that are against the regime in Iran, according to all the research that has been done. So we don't want to put their lives in danger. What can be done, of course, is that since those nuclear reactors are not active at this point, the main thing that needs to be done is to deactivate the regime in Iran and to stop all of their sale of oil, which is the fuel that runs their security apparatus, to basically to take away the ability of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards of murdering their own people. They've murdered 40,000 opponents of the Iranian regime, and that needs to be stopped as well. Because you have to remember, the country of Iran is a country that can live very nicely with the West as an American ally, and even as an Israeli ally in the Middle East. So it's in all of our interests to have that regime in Iran be brought down. Now, if they're not brought down, then things aren't going to change. Sure, damage will be done to them. They'll have their nuclear program set back some years. They may have serious damage to their infrastructure and to their economy, but it's not going to bring down the regime. The regime will not be brought down until there is an ongoing massive assault on them, whether it's by Israel or the United States or other allies of the United States in the region who are also opposed to Iran. But it needs to happen until they put up their white flag of surrender. That's how you win wars. That's how the war was won in World War II, which was possibly the most just war in the history of the world. And that's how wars used to be won.
Yeah.
Until we started to say that, well, wars are unjust unless they're carried out against Israel or the United States.
Yeah. I want to come to the passion of your heart, and that's what you're dealing with when it comes to the children's Shiloh Israel Children's Fund. I don't think we understand that children go to bed with the idea in mind that they may be waking up in the middle of the night and taken to a bomb shelter. Give us an update of your ministry there.
Yep, or the idea that they may wake up the next day and or maybe not even wake up, or to wake up and find out that both their parents have been killed by attacks, by terrorist attacks, by missiles from Iran and other enemies of Israel. That's a reality for them. The Shiloh Israel Children's Fund was founded 18 years ago. Well, actually in the United States was founded over 20 years ago. For the purpose of healing the trauma of terror victim children. And what we do is that we use music therapy and art therapy and horse therapy, otherwise known as equine therapy, horticulture therapy, multisensory safe room therapy, movement therapy, and so many others. It's all under one umbrella. We work with different institutions. We have different centers at different sites in Israel. The purpose is to heal the trauma and to help them to move on with their lives, to restore at least some of the lost innocence of childhood that has been taken away from them. That's what we do. I invite people to go to our website, which is, as you said, israelchildren.org. And that's the website, israelchildren.org. And that's where they can find out, people can find out more. Your viewers can partner with us, and they can learn more about what we actually do. I should just point out that the organization was founded on the background of massive terror attacks, including one attack in which I was almost killed along with my 3-year-old son, who was shot in the head. And the bullet missed his brainstem by 1 millimeter, and he survived. But from his psychological trauma, which we only noticed later on, it became clear that I was supposed to do something with this horrible experience that we went through. And the purpose to help other children who go through trauma. And trauma is really going through the roof in Israel in the past couple of years especially. And fortunately, we're here to serve the children and to do what needs to be done with the help of people around the world. So once again, I just throw the website out there, israelchildren.org. We get support from people around the world. That's how we keep it going. That's the fuel that moves our engine. In Iran, they're always looking for fuel to fuel their nuclear facilities to bomb countries in the West, including Israel, including Europe, including the United States. But our fuel is the donations that are sent in by people who stand with us, who have a heart for the children who've suffered so much.
All right, again, that's israelchildren.org, israelchildren.org. David, just one little bit of an update. How would you describe things now in Gaza with Hamas?
Well, Gaza has kind of gone off the map a little bit. Not too many people talking about it. But Hamas has been continuously attacking. They've been trying to launch various kinds of kamikaze attacks on Israel from different places in Gaza, approaching the area that Israel controls in Gaza. Israel has about 70% of Gaza in our hands as we speak. And the more territory that we control in Gaza, the safer Gaza will be for whoever lives in Gaza at any given time.
Well, I just find it amazing how Israel, you and your citizens, Netanyahu, everything have shown incredible respect and restraint at the same time, knowing the real issues there and why you haven't gone in and finished the job at the request of the president. It's kind of a mystery to me, but maybe someday that'll all be accomplished.
You just answered your question, Perry.
Yeah.
You just answered your own question at the request of the president.
Yeah.
Those are the key words.
Yeah.
And I understand President Trump.
Yeah.
Look, there are reasons for him to try to keep the peace as much as possible, at least for the moment.
Good to see you, friend. David Rubin, Israel.com is his website. Certainly take a look and prayerfully consider supporting IsraelChildrenFund.org, IsraelChildren.org. There's a picture of that website. As always, thank you, friend. Good to see you. Our thoughts and prayers remain with you.
Thank you, Perry. God bless you, and I appreciate the support.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
In today's world, we've become too used to hearing bad news. Why not help share a little good news instead?